Yo, YouTube, what's up with your boy, Sports and Fitness Rants? I'm back, guys. Click that like button. Subscribe to my channel. What's up, y'all? Welcome back and welcome to another live edition. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Merry Christmas Eve. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Whatever you guys celebrate, man. Shout out to everybody out there, man. Once again, you guys know the deal on this channel. It's all about setting the record straight, stopping the lies, stopping the narratives, stopping them from rewriting history, guys. And once again, in this live, we're going to be talking about everything and anything, because that's what we do on these lives. So welcome back to another Sunday, or not Sunday, excuse me, to another Christmas Eve live edition. Once again, on a Tuesday, not on a Sunday. Shout out to everybody out there. Like I said, man, it means a lot for you guys to continue to come through. Like I said, happy holidays to all you guys, man. Hope everybody's doing good. Like I said, man, a lot of things I want to talk about since the last live that I did by myself. So there's a lot of things to cover in this live, man. We're going to talk about all kinds of stuff, man. We're definitely going to talk about that clown LeBron James. We're going to be talking about that dude Kevin Durant. You guys know that, man. We're going to talk about San Antonio Spurs beating OKC Thunder last night. A bunch of other things, man. Some of the videos that I've done over the last week, I want to touch on some of the points in some of these videos. Man, once again, man, I want to thank you guys, everyone across the world, everyone across the states, once again, that's been supporting my lives, man, and supporting my channel, everything, guys. Like I said, it really means a lot. I'm truly, truly humbled by all support, man, for real. It means a lot. I want to send a couple of special thanks out to a Coco Hulk. Once again, shout out to Coco Hulk, always coming through. Shout out to you. Shout out to Vernon Lee Warren for coming through. I want to send a special thanks out to him. Willie Sermons. Shout out to Willie Sermons. I want to send a special thanks out to Who Did It This Time. Shout out to you. Shane Friedrich. Shout out to Shane Friedrich. I hope I said your guys' names right. You guys know I'm terrible with the names. But you guys know who you are, man. So once again, shout out to you guys, man. And you guys know what to do. Turn the volume all the way up. Hit that play button. Remember these lives, the videos, for educational purposes. And let's roll. So once again, Merry Christmas Eve, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Shout out to everybody out there, man. Thank you for coming through and joining me in another live edition, man. Much respect to everybody that's in the chat. I see you guys. Shout out to Progressive Comfort, who's just became a member. Shout out to you. Much respect. Shout out to my man 20K out there in Houston, Texas, doing this thing. So shout out to you. You're going to put the Gamma Blue 11s on. My wife is trying to get me them joints for Christmas, man. It didn't work out. Well, shout out to my man 20K. Shout out to Renee, always coming through. Good morning to you. Merry Christmas Eve. Shout out to my man TG. Shout out to you. Merry Christmas Eve to everybody out there. You guys know the deal. Shout out to my man Deal With It 28. What's up, man? Thank you for coming through as always. You guys know the deal. Shout out to my man Kevin Luke K, always coming through. What's up, man? I'm doing good. You guys know, man. I'm feeling good. Like I said, man, Christmas is my favorite holiday. So once again, man, you guys know the deal. Shout out to my man Derek 759. Mind of the North Star. What up? Yes, sir. We in here and we about to roll, man. We got a lot to talk about, like I said. Shout out to my man Ivan 1294. Thank you very much. Troy Black, what up? Dennis Gregory. Shout out to you. Good morning to everybody out there, man. Happy holidays. Oh, in the gym doing it, man. You better be don't be sitting down in the gym. Remember, I tell you guys all the time, don't be lazy in the gym. Just because people tell me all the time, y'all work out. I used to see people in the gym, they tell me they work out. Every exercise they do, they're sitting. All you're doing is sitting down. So once again, shout out to my man Dennis Gregory out there fighting against the laziness. Yo, shout out to all you guys. Shout out to my man JXY VO Music. I know I probably jacked it up, man, but shout out to you for coming through as always. Armand Smith. What's up, man? Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Chase Smith, Chase 1738, always coming through. You guys know the deal. Yeah, everybody's up in here, man, rolling. So I'm talking about. Deal With It 28. What up? Let's roll. You guys know the deal. My man Armando Ruiz coming through. You guys know the deal. Out there in Arizona. All right, shout out to you, my man out there in Arizona working out. TMD, what up? You know I'm about to bring it because that's what I do out here. Yeah, shout out to you, Progressive Comfort. Thank you for becoming a member. That means a lot, man. What up? Yeah, I definitely was going to hit you guys with a before Christmas live. So I was like, I got to do it for the people out there, man. So once again, thank you for you guys for coming through. Vanita Shaws, what up? Merry Christmas. Thank you for coming through. 2751. You guys know the deal. Yo, love TM. Oh, love them skins, huh? Okay, 1982. Once again, good morning. Set it off. OG, we gotta go crazy. CLW, what up? Thank you for coming through as always, man. Motto 3623. Yo, I really appreciate you guys coming through, man. There's so many people in here already. I can't believe it. Like I said, man, it's truly humbling. Troy Smith coming through. Thank you very much to all you guys, man, for coming through. I hope I didn't miss anybody. Young Hot Boy, what up? Thank you for coming through. I see you out there. Shout out to all you guys. Yo, once again, man, good morning. Merry Christmas Eve if you guys celebrate. Happy holidays, a happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever it is, man. If you're Jehovah's Witness and you don't celebrate anything, shout out to the Jehovah's Witnesses out there. Don't be coming knocking on my door and ringing my doorbell. And the reason why I make jokes, or I made a joke like that, is because my wife's family is actually Jehovah's Witness. My wife grew up Jehovah's Witness, never celebrated Christmas, never celebrated birthdays, no holidays, nothing. So when we got together, it was very interesting because my wife didn't really, when she got to like a certain age, she never really, followed that, the Jehovah's Witness, lifestyle or the religion like that. And her father is a big time guy in the Jehovah's Witness community out here. So it was really interesting when we met and I would talk about certain things in my life. And that's why I tell you guys that you gain perspective, being around and listening to other people. Because when I met my wife, it gave me perspective on Christmas and holidays and, maybe taking these things for granted as a kid growing up, as a birthday, for example. A lot of us celebrate birthdays. It's a pretty common thing, regardless of your religion and things of that nature. Or I would have thought, right? But my wife never celebrated birthdays. So for her, it was a different kind of perspective on the holidays growing up. So that's how I gained perspective in my life. Like I said, listening to my wife tell stories about her childhood, which was different than mine. In my small world, growing up, I thought everybody celebrated birthdays. When she told me she didn't, I was like, what? I couldn't believe it. So before we had children, there was a conversation that was had where I told, listen, I'm not a super religious person like that. My mother is. I told you my father wasn't. We would go to church on Sunday mornings. My dad wouldn't be there. Okay. So I remember as a kid asking my mom, how come dad ain't there? And my dad being like, don't worry about what I'm doing, man. You know what I'm saying? But it was different. So when we're talking about these kinds of things, me and my wife had a conversation like, how are we going to, approach raising children? Because I wanted to do Christmas and the Halloweens, right? And these kinds of holidays, because it meant a lot to me and my childhood. I know those memories meant a lot. I remember my dad, on Christmas would have the Stevie Wonder Christmas music playing or Nat King Cole records playing. And he would have the giant ass camcorder out there, right? And we'd be out there on the living room floor, doing Christmas. And I remember these things. So I wanted to do that. And thank God my wife was okay with this also. So we do Christmas, we do birthdays. And I know I ran off on my own personal, rant here, a story, but that's called perspective in life, guys. So once again, whatever you celebrate, if you don't celebrate, man, shout out to everybody out there. Thank you for coming through, man. Now, like I said, there's a lot of things that we got to talk about. Like I said, just in the NBA right now, what's going on. Last night, the San Antonio Spurs beating OKC Thunder. To me, that was a pretty, what's impressive about that to me is that they've beaten the OKC Thunder in a couple of times now, right? And there was like 2 out of the last 3 or 4 games that they played the Thunder and they've beaten them. So to me, that's impressive. It's not like they beat them once and, they haven't beaten them again or, it was some kind of fluke win. Maybe you can say the Spurs seem to match up well with the OKC Thunder and what they're doing. Like I said, Victor Wembanyama is coming off the bench right now, trying to come back from the injury and manage the injury. But man, I'm telling you right now, it's really going to be interesting to see down the road if a team like the San Antonio Spurs can keep this momentum going, like I said, into a postseason. We're far away from that. But I thought that was very impressive. Once again, we know what happened last night with the Los Angeles Lakers and the Phoenix Suns. It seems like every night the Lakers are playing the Utah Jazz and the Phoenix Suns. I don't know if that's just me, but every night it seems like they're playing the same, like 3 or 4 teams. Like I thought there were 30 teams in the NBA. How are the Lakers playing the same teams over and over and over and over again? I just don't seem to get this kind of stuff, man. But that's what it seems to be every night. And I tell you guys once again, LeBron James better go get his Wheaties, man. He needs to go and get his Wheaties. Not these Wheaties, because these joints is nasty right here. This box ain't been open. This box, I've had this box for like 7 years, man. So don't eat these Wheaties, LeBron. But you need to go get some Wheaties, man. You need to go find some heart. A lot of these guys, they need to go find some heart because they ain't got it. All right. And what you saw last night, more LeBron, you got schooled by Dillon Brooks again. Again, this is multiple times. Like I said, they played the Phoenix. How many times they played the Phoenix Suns? Two over the last. The Spurs played the OKC Thunder like 2 of their last 3 or 4 games. The Lakers are playing the Utah Jazz, right? And the Suns every other game. Crazy stuff, man. Don't make no sense. So we're gonna talk about that later because there's some details that we're gonna get into with that. But I want to talk about some other stuff. Yo, shout out to all you guys out there, man, for coming through. Hating Finks, what up? Boogie Allen, what up, man? Callie Young, what's good, man? Yeah, I've had that Wheaties box for a minute. Shout out to all you guys out there that continue to come through. Like I said, man, it really means a lot. Yo, shout out to my man, Rise Above Anything. I see you out there. Good morning, brother. Just got off work. Appreciate your live. Yo, much respect, man. I told you I was going to try to do some more lives for you guys or try to be more steady with the lives. I told you guys it's hard for me to schedule it, a lot of way in advance. So much respect for you guys for coming through. And I don't give you guys that much of a heads up. Shout out to my man, Rise Above Anything, for coming through with the super. It means a lot. So, yeah, we're going to talk about LeBron James' Christmas Day comments, right? He talked about playing on Christmas Day and how he'd rather be home with his family. And listen, I get it, right? Christmas, I've worked on Christmas Day many a times. All right, so I get it, man. Yeah, we would all rather be with our families. We would all rather not work. I wish we could all not work. I wish we all had 800 credit scores, right? We all didn't have to work. Those were things that we didn't have to worry about because there are so many other things that are more important in life. There are so many other things that are harder to deal with in life, just like our overall health. I mean, just think about making a smart nutritional choice, how hard that is. That's hard to do, man. That's a daunting task. You ever go to the grocery store and try to make a smart nutritional choice? Yo, that's not easy, man. Why isn't it easy? Number one, maybe you're not really sure what a smart nutritional choice is. Number two, and more importantly, it costs more money to eat good. Isn't that sad in society? So yes, obviously, we're going to talk about them comments, man, because like I said, we get what LeBron James is saying. You're in your 23rd season. You're playing on Christmas Day. But there's a bigger picture here. And LeBron James, his fans, because I've seen a lot of the fans talking about this, of his fans, they miss the bigger picture oftentimes. Because once again, LeBron James and his fans, they're only worried about him. They're not worried about anything else. So it prevents you from seeing the bigger picture, right? You can't see the forest from the trees or however the damn saying goes. That's LeBron James, man. So we're going to laugh about the Dillon Brooks because he's getting schooled out there by Dillon Brooks, man. Do you guys think Michael Jordan, the Wizards, getting schooled by Dillon Brooks? I mean, my goodness, man. This is insane. Michael Jordan was going toe-to-toe with the elite ring perimeter guys in the early 2000s. We've talked about this. He didn't back down from none of them dudes. You think he's going to get schooled by Dillon Brooks? Come on, man. And listen, man, this is multiple games now, like almost consecutively, that Dillon Brooks has been hitting LeBron James' head, psyching him out. I mean, there was a play. We're going to talk about it in a second, guys. I got some of the things I want to talk about first. And like I told you, I want to talk about some of these videos that I've done, some of the topics that I've done in some of these videos since my last live stream. One of the things that I want to talk about, and then we'll get into all of that stuff. Shout out to Vanita Shaw's, my favorite old school player. I mean, I guess I'd have to go with Dr. J. I mean, I'm always talking about Dr. J on here. So I guess I'd have to go with Dr. J, but I'm not going to lie. When we talk about the quote-unquote old school players, and for me, that's an old school type player. I know to a lot of the younger people today, I'm old school, right? Just the 90s is old school. And yes, it is, technically. For me, the old school players would be the guys that play like, the 80s, the 70s, the 60s, the 50s. These are the old school type players for me. So for me, I've gained more of a perspective and an appreciation, not only for a Dr. J, but for a Will Chamberlain, an Elgin Baylor. And why did I gain more of a perspective and appreciation for these guys? It's because I've listened to some of the stuff that Dr. J has said about Elgin Baylor, which forced me to have to go look into Elgin Baylor, right? And watch videos on Elgin Baylor. Once again, shout out to my man over at the Will Chamberlain Archive, because a lot of the stuff that I've had access to comes through his channel, but not only his channel, but once again, when you click on some of this stuff, like you guys know on YouTube, if I click on some of his content or I click on content of like that, similar to that, then all of a sudden you start to have similar stuff pop up in your feed, let's say, right? So that has opened doors for me. But once again, when we talk about these people, like remember I've told you guys, like when I was young growing up and you're listening to these guys talk about, some of these players, when they laugh at these guys today, like the kids now, they laugh at these guys back in the day, right? They say, oh, they can't dribble, they couldn't do this, they couldn't shoot. They don't ask the questions why. They don't ask why. Like they'll just look at numbers, right? And just like, look at this field goal percentage of this guy in 1962, right? Or look at the field goal percentage of this guy in 1955. But they don't ask why. It's always just a laugh. It's never, let me find out why these things are happening. When they see the video of Bob Cousy dribbling this way, they don't ask why he's dribbling that way. They say he can't dribble as the why. But that's not the why. They didn't ask the why. They didn't find out into the why. So, like I tell you guys all the time, listening to people that know more than I do on a certain topic, and once again, me understanding the game allows me to differentiate and kind of, determine who to listen to and who not to listen to. When I'm talking about Too Raw, once again, shout out to the legend Too Raw for TV. Maybe you guys know who he is. Obviously, a lot of the people that follow my channel know his channel. Once again, his delivery is a little bit different than my delivery. But when I first came on here, before I was making any videos, and I was just listening to this stuff because it was lockdown during COVID time. That's when I started listening to YouTube videos mostly. I was never into YouTube before that. What made me realize that he knew what he was talking about, because I know what I'm talking about with certain things. So when I hear him talk about the 90s and the guys in the 80s, I can sit there and say, yeah, this guy knows what he's talking about. I can tell he grew up watching the same stuff I'm watching, because I agree with everything that he's saying about this particular era, this particular topic. But when I heard him talk about guys in the 50s and the 60s, some of the stuff that I wasn't that great on or knew about, that's what made me be like, damn, this guy knows stuff that I never even knew or heard of, because of the way he was able to break it down, not just tell me something that I didn't know, but explain it to me. So once again, I came on YouTube and started listening to people like that. When I first came on and I linked up with Michael Jordan Fans of the Best, I reached out to him, right? Because I was interested into linking up with a new YouTuber that was interested in kind of, standing up for Michael Jordan, so to speak, and the era. So when I met him, I met a guy named Rex on there, right? And Rex is an older gentleman, right? And knows the game in and out, knows different stories, right? Is able to give you, the context and perspective from stuff back in the day. I never even heard this stuff. I was like, damn. But I was listening to him. I didn't agree with a lot of this stuff that he said about the 90s guys. We would go back and forth about a lot of this stuff, but he had a different perspective, based off of what he watched. But I respected his knowledge on the past eras, the previous eras. So I gained even more perspective listening to him, and so forth and so on. That's how it went for me. So when we talk about the old school players, once again, I know I'm rambling on here, guys. That's what it is. When I grew up, my dad talked about Dr. J a lot. My dad's 76 years old. So he's been around for a while watching this stuff. He grew up in the same area, same time as Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, right? In New York City. I told you my dad's from Harlem. So he would talk to me about a lot of these guys. My dad was into basketball. He played basketball in the street. He didn't play in school. He played in the streets, my dad. I told you my dad was like that, man. So once again, the names he would always talk about, and I tell you guys know, what does Michael Jordan always do? He always brought up these other guys. He always brought up the Dr. J's. He always brought up the Will Chamberlains. He always brought up Oscar Robertson, Jerry West. I always heard him mention these guys. So what does that force you to do? If you're a fan of Michael Jordan and he's bringing up these guys as to say, hey, we have to give these guys some props, they paved the way for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't be able to do the things that I'm doing if it wasn't for these guys. Because once again, they held the standard, right? They kept the game going. They pushed it forward. So I'm benefiting from them. So it forced us as fans to look into these dudes. When I was growing up, I told you guys know the deal. You turn on the TV, they would be talking about these guys. They wouldn't be mentioning them, but not in a negative. Now, what do you get? The guys come on the broadcast booth. We just heard Stan Van Gundy say that the best 20 players who have ever played have been playing in the last 20 years. What kind of disservice have you done to all of those great people? That's beyond opinion. That's not opinion. You're lying now. We have to, once again, put some respect on these guys. I tell you, like they're making it seem as if what they did was easier. It wasn't easier to play back in the day. Oh, it was easier. There's only 8 teams. It was 8 teams during a civil rights movement, you fools. What are we talking about here? Oh, Bill Russell only had to go against 7 teams. There was 1 round. And he was dealing with people who hated him because of the way that he looked. People are upset now. They go to the games and they're like, yo, this guy just said something about my mama. He just said something racial. He said something crazy. You're telling me, oh, there were 7 teams in the league, 8 teams in the league. Bill Russell and these guys weren't dealing with crazy stuff. It wasn't easier to play. They were smoking cigars in the arenas. I mean, my goodness. Come on, man. These guys are upset if the temperature in the arena is a little bit off. There's too much humidity. I mean, it's not enough of a breeze. I don't know. Insane. Yo, shout out to my man AOH. Shout out to the Jesse Glass Saget. Shout out to my man A Hill. What up? I think I've seen some of you guys send us some supers. Forgive me. I'll be rambling and rambling. What's up? Shout out to my man A Hill 2324 for coming through. Due to LeBron, NBA may need a term limit of 20 years. Yeah, you're right. We might need to put a term limit in here. Or I told you, I was thinking about doing a video on this. Shout out to my man A Hill. That's a great point. The NBA, like they have a 65-game league minimum, right? To me, the NBA needs to have something instituted based off that 65-game minimum, where this starts to affect your pay, not your accolades, not your oh, you're not going to be eligible for an MVP or an all NBA team or something like that. It's just start affecting guys' pay, because then I really want to see what you guys are going to do. Because like I've told you guys, I'm not saying every player, but it seems to me that more often than not, a lot of these guys are really playing for the money first. The money first. I need my max money first. Everything else comes off of that. So if you're starting to affect their pay now once again, they have a union. This will have to be negotiated. We get all of that. But that's where it should be. It should be coming now to start to affect your pay. You're not going to be a max player or get your max contract if you don't play the 65. So Joel Embiid, for example. Should Joel Embiid be getting his full contract? Absolutely not. That just sounds insane. There's no knock on Joel Embiid. It's just the facts. Like, why should you get all of your money? Why should you get any money? You're never there. Someone like Joel Embiid, or Kawhi Leonard, or Zion Williamson, John Morant, guys, LeBron James, guys that are always missing games, right? They should get paid as a pay to play. So when you play, you get paid. You played the game last night, you get paid for that game. The next time you don't play, you don't get paid. That's how it should be for a lot of those guys. I'm not saying every player or all these guys here. I'm talking about people like that. The guys, like I said, Paul George. I mean, this guy was talking and spending more time and energy on the microphone on a podcast than he was trying to earn that money on the basketball court. And remember, him and his father, I told you his father's a clown. And him and his father came on his podcast last year in the offseason and said that they were offended. He was offended by the Clippers' offer to him because they did not give him a max offer and did not give him a no-trade clause. My man, he played 37 games, I think, last year. And you were offended they didn't give you max money? Once again, I'm offended that you were offended. And we've talked about this. So you should get paid only when you play for guys like that. Like I said, Zion Williamson shows up every 20 games. I mean, this is insane. This guy just popped. You don't even know. It's a surprise he plays. No one even knows. Like, Zion Williamson played. Like, I'll see Zion Williamson on a highlight. I mean, damn, Zion Williamson, he played last night? I didn't even know that. You never know. Like I said, you have to be like, wait, is he playing? Is he not playing? You don't even know. Show up whenever he wants. Weird stuff, man. But I tell you guys, A Hill, remember, I tell you guys this. The longer LeBron James plays, it's just better for us, guys. This is just more and more material. This is LeBron James further and further. I mean, this man is just flaming that. It's so cringe. LeBron James' career over the last 7-8 seasons, guys, this is like a bad, like one of those weird Lifetime movies that are really cringy and stuff, man. That's what this is. That's what this is, man. It's like one of those you guys ever go to those? I know you guys have been there. You guys go to those weird trainings. They send you those like EEO training, How many times you guys been to like an EEO training and the videos, the product that they put out for you guys, right? The less is cringe as hell. Cringe as hell. Ain't no one walking around doing stuff like this. And if they are, once again, you're a weirdo. It's so weird. Like, who does this stuff? I don't get it, man. My goodness. That's LeBron James' career. Cringe, man. And just weird. That's why his fan base is cringe. You see the things that these guys say? I'll leave my woman for LeBron James. You leave your woman for LeBron James. They'll throw their women in front of a moving train or something. What kind of woman you got? That's how you feel about your lady? How should your woman feel about that? If my wife heard that I would leave her for Michael Jordan, she would think there's something wrong with me. If I ever said that, I wouldn't even joke like that because that's not funny. It's not even funny. What is it? It's weird and cringe. Oh, yeah, I'll leave my woman for LeBron James, man. For one night with LeBron? What? This is what they say. I've seen this stuff, the content. This is the crap content that's out. Hey, listen, man, I know we all live different lives and we all believe in different things. But as far as my woman's concerned, I'll die for my lady, man. I'll die for my wife. No questions asked. Like, this is insane that these guys will give up. They'll give up their woman for one night with him. And I don't even want to know what the hell they will talk about that one night. What is that one night thing? Like, my goodness. Like, this is an indecent proposal? Yeah, man, here, hey, babe, I'm going to go with LeBron for one night. I'll be back, though. What? Yo, this stuff is weird, man. I'm telling you right now, I told you, man, I will die for my woman, no questions asked. Man, not even a question. I told you guys, I'll be burned up as hell. You done lost your mind leaving my woman for Michael Jordan? Man, leave my woman for none of these dudes. But this is what we doing out here. Come on, man. Goodness, that's what people have sold their integrity. They sold their integrity for this dude. I mean, yeah, yo, I'm gonna put his comment on the screen right here because this is the facts right here. This is what these guys say, man. I saw a dude say he would love to be Savannah. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? Yo, that's a true statement right there. That's a true statement right there. Yo, you know the deal. You guys have seen his content. You guys have sent me some of this stuff, man. Shout out to everybody that sends me stuff on Instagram and, like I said, on Facebook. You guys send me emails. Some of this stuff, I can't even talk about some of this stuff on YouTube because I'll get banned or something probably. How can you talk about some of this stuff without getting banned on YouTube? It's so cringe and weird. Like I said, I don't understand some of this, the questions that they ask these guys. And then like I said, when you look at these guys that are answering the questions the way they are, like I would be offended you're asking me something like this as a grown man. If I'm walking down the street and someone came up to me and was like, hey, let me ask you a question. Would you leave your woman for LeBron James? I would be like, yo, if you don't get out of my face, I'm not even answering this. I'm telling you right now, get up out of my face. 2 steps, back up. Weird stuff. But these guys are yeah, LeBron James. And they'll say like, LeBron James. You're talking about LeBron James. Yeah, man, absolutely. And they'll be like, yo, I'll pack my lady up right now. That one night with LeBron James, man, oh man, I'd love to sleep in the bed with him. They say all kinds of, I mean, my goodness. But the same people that will say that are not even wearing his sneakers. How weird is that? I would have loved for when that LeBron Barbie doll came out. Remember that line you saw of the people out there for the Barbie doll? I would have loved for someone who was out there, maybe someone did this, to go to one of those lines, wherever this was, and look at the sneakers that those people were wearing. I wanted someone to do that. I would have loved to see how many of them people out there were wearing the LeBron James sneakers. Are you wearing LeBron sneakers? Or are you wearing Michael Jordan? I would love to see how many people wearing Michael Jordan sneakers out there going to get a LeBron James Barbie doll. Don't make no sense. Absolutely makes no sense. All right? You're not going to see me stepping outside with a pair of LeBron James on and a LeBron James jersey. I told you, I'm not putting his name on my back. I'll put Jordan on the back. I'll put the real 23 on the back. I'll put the 23 on the feet. I'll put the 23 on the head. I'll wear it proud. I'll put it on the wall. LeBron James? Come on, man. Stop it right now. Yo, shout out to all you guys, man. I know I'm rambling here. Shout out to my man Mike Lowry for coming through. Yeah, I mean, you listen, you know he's going to make the All-Star team, right? We're going to talk about that too, actually, in a second. That's a good point right there, my man Mike Lowry, because I saw Kevin Garnett's comments on the All-Star stuff. Shout out to my man A. Hill coming through again, man. It's a duty in knowing when it's time to retire. Absolutely. I mean, listen. Man, I feel like I'm rambling on, man, guys. Forgive me if I'm rambling too much. I feel like I'm rambling. Once again, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's, man. All that stuff, man. Happy holidays, man. Like I said, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa. Like I said, if you're Jehovah's Witness, man, shout out to all you people out there too, man, who don't celebrate none. I gave you guys the backstory about that in the beginning of the live. So once again, you have to know when to go. But also, I told you guys, sometimes we understand, right? Maybe you have an unfinished business and you want to come back, right? You have unfinished business. So, when I think about unfinished business, I think about like Rocky Balboa, right? Like the one when he came back in like 2006, right? In that movie, he had unfinished business, right? He said he had stuff in the basement, right? He's like, yo, there's some stuff in the basement here that I gotta get it out. I gotta get rid of this stuff in the basement, right? And Paulie says to him, like when he's getting ready to fight there at the end, right? He's like, yo, you make sure that this is out. You get it out, man. You get all the stuff in the basement out. But at the end, he says, it's out. The beast is gone, man. Everything is gone. So I can understand an all-time great having that kind of feeling. Yo, I got something inside still. Like, that I didn't finish. Some unfinished, man, it is just burning inside of me like that, man. Now, I'm not comparing LeBron James to Rocky Balboa because LeBron James is not Rocky Balboa. We could talk about being a fictional character, not Rocky Balboa. The character stands for something greater. It's not about the character. It's what the character represented in all of us and the human condition. I told you, it's like the American way. We believe in the underdog, right? There's power in that, right? And from getting knocked down and keep coming back, right? That's how winning is done, right? You understand? So, when we're talking about these kinds of things, and we're saying that maybe you have something inside that you need to get out and finish, then yes, I would be on board with that. But LeBron James, what do you have that's unfinished? Dude, you've been cheating us for a while now. You've been cheating the game, cheating yourself, cheating the fans. I mean, we can segue right into the All-Star thing. You couldn't even show up to the All-Star game last year. And like Kevin Garnett said, and once again, see, this is my problem with someone like Kevin Garnett. What do I tell you guys? The credibility of these guys is up and down. I love Kevin Garnett, man. Kevin Garnett was nasty on the court, man. That dude, man, Kevin Garnett, what? Sensation. I told you, my younger brother's favorite basketball player. All this kid would talk about is the big ticket. But Kevin Garnett's been wishy-washy. He's pumped up LeBron James with lies and narratives. He said weird things over here, right? And said things about LeBron James that we were like, So now I agree with what you're saying here, Kevin Garnett, but I didn't agree with you a little while ago because you said some nonsense. So it's hard for me to get behind these guys and them to have, full credibility because they're here 1 minute, then they say something over here. So when he says, keep your vote, don't vote for LeBron James for the All-Star game, I agree with him. We all know, though, he's got these weird LeBron James fans are going to vote for LeBron James, and that's what I called them out for last season. This man, all of you guys out there, y'all voted for this dude. Millions of people voted for LeBron James for the All-Star game, right? And a lot of these people voted multiple times over and over. You can vote as many times as you want. So if you're all going to vote for LeBron James, that means what? You want to see him there, right? Isn't that why LeBron James fans voted him? No, they just vote him. Why? They don't give him plays. They want to vote him the All-Star so that they can say, LeBron James, 22 times he's been the All-Star. LeBron James, he's been the All-Star this many times. They can just celebrate some weak All-Star selections. I tell you guys all the time, when you're talking about the all-time greats, I'm talking about the great players, All-Star selections become meaningless. Meaningless. All these guys are multiple time All-Stars. That's not saying anything special. Once again, it's a fan-voted thing. So we understand and respect it for that because the fans, once again, that's why the All-Star game is supposed to be for the fans. So you see how all this contradicts the way that LeBron James treats the All-Star game. The fans vote on this stuff because we want to see our favorite players. The guys go out there, put on the show, do their thing, give the effort on D. You know what I'm saying? But no, they all voted this clown. He didn't show up. So not only did he show up, he waited to the last minute to not show up. So no one could replace LeBron James. He took a moment away from another player. This is what I tell you guys. LeBron James robbing the NBA. You just robbed the kid. So once again, this is how the trend continues. You see how that all goes, guys? Hand in hand and hand in hand. It all goes right into each other. Right? Fans voting on the All-Star game because it's a fan thing. The players forgetting this, making it about themselves. Someone like LeBron James, they vote him, I'm not showing up. So LeBron James continues to tear down his legacy, continues to once again tear down the NBA All-Star game. And then Kevin Durant comes on a microphone and says, what? Oh yeah, LeBron's always locked in. He's always locked in. He's so locked in that the All-Star game became a joke. Not because of Steph Curry, because of LeBron James. LeBron James in the NBA goofing it up way before Steph Curry was there. Way before it, man. Steph Curry ain't coming to the NBA like 2010. LeBron James was goofing up way before then. Goofing it up. Steph Curry came to the NBA right when LeBron James decided to form super teams. What the hell are you guys talking about? Weird stuff out here. Makes no sense. Kevin Durant out here. Why would Kevin Durant say that? Because Kevin Durant's a Steph Curry hater. He hates on Steph Curry. Why is he hating on Steph Curry? Because Steph Curry is viewed as greater than Kevin Durant, and rightfully so. And everyone views Kevin Durant's move going to Golden State about going and joining up with Steph Curry. Right? Steph Curry win that championship before and after Kevin Durant. It really nullified Kevin Durant's career and legacy, man. It really did. I mean, it minimized it heavily. Heavily. So once again, LeBron James should retire. Yo, you guys know the deal, man. Yo, shout out to all you guys coming through, man. Forgive me, I'm trying to catch up on some of these supers. Yo, shout out to my man AR, Mondo Ruiz coming through. I found myself rooting for the world instead of the U.S. Yep. Led by LBJ last Olympics. That's how soft and unlikable this generation of hoopers has become. Yo, shout out to Mondo Ruiz. When you talk about what you just mentioned there, LeBron James in the Olympics, and you're talking about, quote unquote, led by LeBron James. That's an excellent way to put it, because I made a video about this, and I think a lot of us felt the same way. I was offended. I was disgusted, not only as an American, but as a U.S. veteran, right? That stood for that, that fought for this country, that represented this country honorably. I was offended on both fronts that LeBron James was supposed to be representing us as a leader of the U.S. Olympic team, but not only the U.S. Olympic basketball team, he was supposed to be the ambassador for the USA. LeBron James, you're telling me that LeBron James represents America? Now, once again, shout out to everybody that's not from America in the chat, man. We're talking about America right now. LeBron James don't represent y'all. LeBron James, you telling me America, he represents us? I told you, hell no, he does not. He does not. And I told you, he don't represent black people. I don't want to, LeBron James, y'all hating on a black man. On what black man? Michael Jordan ain't black? Kobe ain't black. Y'all be talking about Kobe Bryant's death in the most disgusting ways. You guys talk about Michael Jordan's father's death in the most disgusting ways. You want to come on here and talk to me about blackness? You want to talk to me about activism? You want to talk to me about LeBron James is a good black man? He ain't representing us. And I'm only half representing the black people. I told you, my mom's family from Italy, man. So once again, I don't want to hear about none of that stuff, because he ain't representing America and he ain't representing black people, man. So I don't give a damn. He does not represent America. That is nonsense. We would never, that's not how America does things. That's not how we're supposed to be doing things. Yeah, we are getting soft. America has taken a step back, a couple of steps back, a giant step back. We've gotten soft as hell. But damn it, there's still a lot of us out here, and America is not going to be represented by someone like LeBron James, who walks off the court early, who folds up whenever it gets tough. America's not supposed to be about folding up when things get tough. I thought that's how America's supposed to be built. We're supposed to be tough. We're supposed to keep pushing. I don't understand this stuff, man. LeBron James shouldn't be representing any countries. You want to represent you? Shout out to all my people in Canada, because everybody in Canada be representing my channel, the number one country outside the U.S. You want LeBron James representing Canada? You want LeBron James repping England? They're number two behind America. In Canada, they're behind them. You want LeBron James representing the United Kingdom? You want him representing you guys? It's nonsense, man. Any of y'all out there? France, Spain, Mexico, Africa. Anybody in Africa, man? You want to represent one of your countries? Shout out to Italy, man. Anybody in Italy, you want to represent your country? Yo, shout out to my man Gino Panzini. Italy, yeah. Well, my mom loud as hell. My mom loud as, I told you guys, man, on my old VHS high school football tapes, I still got like 12 of these joints, man. I got my old high school football games on tape. I told you I was fortunate that one of the kids' fathers on my team went to all the games, man, and he recorded every single game that we played in high school. This kid's father. And I was able to get a lot of these tapes off of him when I was in high school and dub a lot of this stuff. So once again, when I listen to those tapes, right, I haven't listened to them in a long time, but I hear my mother on there, yo. So once again, shout out to, I'm always going to have that memory no matter what. No matter whenever my mom goes, I'm always going to have that tape. I'm going to have my mom's voice on there yelling. You know what I'm saying? Calling out. Represent, man. So once again, man, I want to do represent us. Going off on tangents here. Shout out to all you guys, man. Once again, that come through. I saw my man McZuggins out there. Shout out to you, McZuggins. Buzz Darker, man. Shout out to my man coming through. It's disgusting. They talk about Kobe. That's crazy, man. Like, I mean, they say I'm hating on LeBron James. I'm hating on LeBron James. That's what they say about me. I told you, these people email me death threats. They said nasty things about my wife, about my kids. I wish somebody would try to come and harm my wife and kids. You have lost your minds. I ain't never said nothing nasty like that about LeBron James. Crazy as hell, man. These people are weird, man. I told y'all some weird stuff. Standing up for LeBron James. It's only about LeBron James. Y'all don't care about basketball. Y'all don't give a damn about basketball. Saying some weird ass stuff, man. Shout out to Dana Green, always coming through. Much respect. Maybe they could have an AI version of Kobe Bryant yelling at the steroid for the halftime show at the Yeah, Dana Green, think about this. Kevin Durant says LeBron James always, quote unquote, locked in the All-Star game. When we saw that moment of Kobe Bryant dogging LeBron James in the All-Star game, we saw the moment where LeBron James gave up the shot and passed it away twice in the All-Star game. He ain't always locked in. You guys are crazy, man. Kevin Durant lost his damn mind. You pumping up LeBron James with lies and narratives again. Dude was out there being scared. The hell out of here, man. People lost their damn mind. Shout out to my man Bernard Kemp. Somos Benditos, what up, man? I see you out there. Shout out to my man Nemo LA. You guys know the deal, Cameron MCOC. Yo, I'm just getting started. We are just getting started, guys. I hope you guys can stay with me for a little bit. I'm gonna try to go maybe for like an hour or so, man. Like we're just getting started here, guys. I'm telling you right now, I'm gonna lose my voice. I don't give a damn. I'm gonna lose my voice on this show today. I'm telling you guys right now, that is my gift to you. That's my gift to y'all. I'm giving you my voice. This is what I give you guys, and I'm not going to have one at the end of this live show. So once again, shout out to everybody that comes through and represents the Sports and Fitness Rants channel, because like I said, man, you guys continue to humble me, man. You guys keep me coming back, man, for more. So it means a lot, right? So once again, my man Nemo LA, you gifted it. Y'all here gifting the memberships, man. You know the deal. Like I said, man, much respect to all you guys. You guys know I'm not here for the money or the fame, man. It's all about setting the record straight. You guys know that. Stopping the lies and stopping the narratives. You guys understand? I just got this pull-up bar like a couple of weeks ago. Man, it's been amazing. This has been amazing. I've been wanting something like this. I told you guys, I got me and my wife bought a house about a little over a year ago. Last September, we moved in here. And I've been doing a lot of work, man, because it's built in 1953. So I've got to do a lot of DIY stuff. And I've never done a lot of this stuff before. I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos on how to do some of this stuff. So it's been fun, man. Once again, shout out to all you guys out there. You know what's funny, guys? I want to tell you guys a quick Christmas story. Yo, shout out to my man Hayden's Phoenix, man. Thanks for a great year of content. I don't think LeBron has anything left in the basement or in the Speaking of the attic, I was in the attic yesterday. Oh my God, man, brutal. I'm trying. Anyone that's ever try to go in an attic and do insulation? Oh man, I'm trying to clear out insulation. I'm trying to. Oh man. But anyway, he ain't got it in the basement. That's what I'm saying. He ain't got it like Rocky Balboa. Rocky Balboa has some stuff burned inside. because Rocky Balboa was a true competitor, right? And remember, I did some videos a couple of years ago, and I related the Rocky franchise, the series, I related it to the similarities between the Michael Jordan Chicago Bulls and the Detroit Pistons in the late 80s into the early 90s, right? And how it was one of those scenarios where it was like Michael Jordan, the Bulls were like Rocky Balboa, right? And they just kept getting knocked down, right? But they just kept coming back. It didn't matter how they got beat, you know what I'm saying, how bad it was, right? They came back, right? They just kept coming back. And Michael Jordan was taking all the blows and all the punches from the Detroit Pistons, right? He was taking the hits from Carl Weathers, right? From Apollo Creed. He was taking the hits. He was taking hits from Ivan Drago. He was taking hits from Mr. T. He was taking all them shots, man. And he just kept coming back. That's what Michael Jordan, the Bulls, kept doing, man. That's what he's talking about when he says in Rocky Balboa, when he says that's how winning is done. That's how they won. They won because they just kept coming back. They were able to take it and just keep coming back. They just, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what it was. And that's what he's talking about in those movies. That's what I tell you, Rocky Balboa represents the fighting spirit in all of us out there. So once again, shout out to my man Hayden Phoenix for coming through. A great year of content, you say. That's truly, truly humbling, man. That really means a lot. Like I said, man, I hope to continue to make content on YouTube into, you know, whenever, you know, into the near future. So once again, thank you to all you guys, man. You guys allow me to do this. Like I say, you guys continue to spread the word. So it means a lot. Shout out to my man Armando Reese coming through again with the super. Balboa is greater than Labalco, and it's not even close. Exactly. Shout out to Rocky Balboa. Once again, shout out to Sylvester Stallone. Like I said, in his creative mind. I mean, people don't realize Sylvester Stallone writes a lot of this stuff. He directs a lot of this stuff. He's just a real talented dude. His brother, rest in peace to his brother. But his brother, Frank Stallone, was a very talented guy also, man, a singer. Could do a lot of different things, man. He was an entertainer. So once again, shout out to Sylvester Stallone, like I said, and the things that he's done for us. Like I said, we all know about Rambo and the movies that he's done for over the career. That's been sensational, man. Just seeing if I think I got everybody supers out here. I don't think I missed anybody. So once again, shout out to all you guys, man, that continue to come through. Like I said, it really means a lot. When you guys are always here. Like I said, Heath Over Ledger, what up, man? Shout out to you guys. Hit that like button. I never say that kind of stuff, man. I know it's funny. Like, I know I watch live streams sometimes, and people be like, yo, make sure you get them likes up. And like, I don't even think to say those kinds of things because I'm always roll on just rambling and ranting on. I don't even think about saying that kind of stuff. Like, whatever and stuff, man. So once again, shout out to you guys out there, man. Hit that like button, man. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't. You guys know the deal. So there was another thing. All right, guys, we're gonna go off right now. Now, there was another thing that some people were asking me to touch on. Yo, John Pettit, 6355. What up? MJ had to prove himself when he got in the league, and LeBron before he got in the league. You heard all the bull about him. LeBron given, not earned. That's right. It was that. See, that's what we talked about. Earning these things, right? Going through the grind, battling, right? Keep coming back. LeBron James realized at a certain point it's going to be harder to win than I thought it's going to be than it was, right? He realized, damn, how does Michael Jordan go 6-0? That's what happened and popped into his mind. So when he says, yeah, it's not about the rings, the A-all, B-all, the ring culture, it's always been about winning. It's not about the rings necessarily. If you're winning, yes, you're going to get rings. The great players are going to win the championships. That's what it is for them. But it's about winning. Winning. That's what it's about for those players. So LeBron James can say whatever he wants. Why did you leave Cleveland? You left Cleveland to win. You wanted to win, right? And you realize it's going to be harder for you to win without you making it easier for you to win. Like, and how are you going to make it easier? Not by working on your game, not by pushing your teammates and making them better, not by sacrificing, right? Once again, helping to help you. That's how you win. I tell you guys the same thing all the time. One of the reasons why I really respect the hell out of Kobe Bryant, and I've gained more of a respect for him over the years as I've grown, as I've gotten older, as I've learned more about the game, I've learned more about some of these scenarios. I tell you guys, and we all know the story, right? Kobe Bryant said, yo, shout out to Hip Hop Fresh Forever. What up? Remember what Kobe Bryant said after he lost to the Boston Celtics in 2008? He said that he called up Michael Jordan, right? And he talked about having a conversation, and pretty much what I gained from that conversation that Kobe had, like what I took from it, is that Kobe Bryant was pretty much asking and pleading Michael Jordan, like, yo, he was looking for Michael Jordan to give him an answer, right? To give him information that he maybe didn't have. So he says to Michael Jordan, yo, man, like, what do I do? Like talking about the Boston Celtics and how formidable they are and how tough it was to go against them. And, the team overall, like, do you think I can do this, on this team? Do I need to get some help? Like, that's how I felt that he was trying to come at Michael Jordan. Like, please, Mike, tell me something. Give me something here, man. Like, what should I do? Should I do this? Should I take a shortcut maybe? Should I try to, do this? And what did Michael Jordan tell him? Michael Jordan told him to figure it out, man. You figure it out. The burden's on you. It's on you. It's always on the great players. It's not on Scottie Pippen. It's not on him. That's why we laugh at this stuff now. They try to make it like Scottie Pippen was doing it. The burden was always on Michael Jordan, man. Everything was on him to push Pippen. That was the burden. In 88, when Pippen was all jacked up and young still, right? He had to push him. Okay, I see something in this kid. Let me try to do this in XYZ. Let me go after him in practice. In 89, when Pippen gets elbowed in the head by Bill Laimbeer, right? And only played 2 minutes. He got knocked out the game, right? You understand these moments. Okay, I got to get this guy a little bit tougher. We got to understand they're trying to intimidate us. I'm not going to get him traded. Did he go to the management and say, hey, listen, man, this kid Scottie Pippen, this 2 years in a row. This ain't working out. He's soft. No, came back in 1990. What happened? I got a migraine. Not feeling too good. Pippen's on the bench. He played the entire game, scored 2 points. Right? This couldn't play through it like that. Couldn't be effective and have an impact on the court. Then Michael Jordan go to the management and say, hey, man, I told you we got to get rid of this dude. This is 3 years in a row with this nonsense. Now you guys are switching coaches on me and all this stuff. We got a new coach, a one-year coach. We got Scottie Pippen all jacked up, getting migraines. I can't win like this. Did he blame Horace Grant? He didn't blame none of them dudes. The burden was on him. He had to figure it out. So what did Michael do? He figured it out. That's what he did. So he gave Kobe Bryant the same advice that he gave himself. And the same thing that he did for himself. What I did, yo, you got to figure this out. You have to understand and figure out what do you have to do to get Pau Gasol and Ron Artest and this guy and that guy. Like, what are you going to do to get these guys up a level? Understand. You have to do something. It's on you, man. So once again, Kobe did that. Figured it out, man. What did LeBron James do, man? Did LeBron figure it out? I tell you guys all the time, let's say LeBron James stayed in Cleveland his entire career. I know it's a big if, a big woulda, coulda, shoulda. But my perspective on this is simply, LeBron James in Cleveland his entire career, right? Or doesn't go to a team the way he goes to Miami or something like that. Like I said, you want to switch a team, and okay, just go to another team and stuff. You have to bring dudes with you. Like, going to Miami to join Dwayne Wade is bad. But then you bring Bosh, makes it even worse. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, you couldn't just go by yourself. You had to go with another dude. Like, doesn't make no sense. But LeBron James stays in Cleveland and wins 3 championships, let's say. Wins 2 championships in Cleveland. Maybe his record's 2-3 in the finals. Maybe his record's 2-1. Maybe he's 1-1. Maybe he only wins 1 championship, right? That's what LeBron James fans say. He only won 1, this guy. Let's say he wins 1 championship. To me, his career would have still been respected. He would have been respected. He could have been an all-time great, a top 5, top 10 player with a 1-1 finals record or a 2-1 finals record, 3-1 finals record because of the way that he would have went about his business. He would have had several MVP awards, I'm assuming. He would have been doing these things if he would have gave more effort on defense consistently and been viewed as one of those great all-time great two-way players and been one of those guys who went out there and just tried to grind it out. And you're like, yo, how did LeBron James win 2 championships on those Cleveland Cavalier teams all those years? You would have been impressed with that stuff, but that's not what you got from LeBron James. What you got from LeBron James was him realizing that it was hard to win championships and not understanding the sacrifice that was going to make. He never wanted to take a back seat because in his mind, he was chasing Michael Jordan, but his fans act like he's not. He's chasing Jordan. And what do I tell you guys? Michael Jordan set the bar so damn high that to beat Michael Jordan, to get past it, You have to be damn near perfect from the start. There's no fall off. Michael Jordan broke his damn foot, missed the whole second season, retired twice, and still set the bar so high. That's just why, man? If he didn't do what he did, so the way that he did it, then y'all wouldn't be acting this way. The LeBron James fans wouldn't be lying like this, because the only way that you can make what he did make sense is to lie about it and to like fabricate up these narratives and weird stuff. Oh, because Scottie Pippen was the second best player in the 90s. Now all of a sudden, Michael Jordan, like I tell you, they have LeBron James and Luka Doncic ranked top 10 in the NBA. And I told you guys this, man. Scottie Pippen, a great player, man. Great player. We know this. But I'm telling you guys right now, the 90s, from 90 to 99, was so densely packed with talent every year. The top 10 players, let's say, of the 90s every year, I'm telling you guys, it fluctuated like hell. Fluctuated like hell, man. I mean, just think about 1990 alone. 1990 alone. You still had Magic Johnson in there playing really good. You still had Larry Bird playing really good. Isaiah Thomas was still really good, right? Dennis Rodman was in his prime, right? You had a lot of great players still that were playing really good at a high level, right? So when we're talking about the 90s and we're talking about every single year, right? Dominique Wilkins still in 1990. Michael Jordan still in 1990. Clyde Drexler in his prime in 1990. Hakeem Olajuwon, Patrick Ewing in his prime. Was Scottie Pippen a top 10 player in 1990? Not even close. Not even close being a top 10 player in 1990, guys. Not even close, man. He just wasn't. 1991, was Scottie Pippen a top 10 player in 1991? No, it's no way, man. There's too many guys. I didn't even mention Karl Malone, John Stockton, Charles Barkley, with all the other guys I just mentioned. He's not better than them dudes, right? So you think about on a year-by-year basis, this is where someone like Scottie Pippen gets lost in the shuffle with the great plays, the Chris Mullins I didn't mention, right? I mean, some of these guys that were there, the Mitch Richmonds, you talk about some of these guys that come in the league. So you talk like 1993, Shaquille O'Neal's in the league now, right? Some of these great plays that are coming in. There was just too much talent. Then you're talking about the Jason Kidds down the road, the Grant Hills. Penny Hardaway to me was greater than Scottie Pippen. So every year, the talent. I told you the year that Larry Johnson made All NBA, before he had the injuries and stuff, he made the All NBA second team. Scottie Pippen made All NBA third team. He made it above Scottie Pippen. So some of these guys are forgotten. Larry Johnson, but he was really good for like 3 years. Larry Johnson, man. I mean, like I said, the injury jacked him up. That dude was sensational at that size, the power. Like I said, you're thinking about some of them dudes. Like I said, James Worthy in the early 90s was better than Scottie Pippen. I said, Dominique Wilkins was still there. So many guys. Like I told you guys, I mentioned Patrick Ewing, but there were so many guys that were border. Like I said, they were right there. Mark Price, the Brad Daughertys, the Kevin Johnsons. Like I said, you still have the Clyde Drexlers and the Hakeems, right? These guys, David Robinson comes in the league in 1990. Like I said, you have Reggie Miller there. Like I said, Karl Malone, Stockton, I mean, my God, guys. Like I said, what are we doing here? The talent, it just was there. Every year, man, every year. They'll say, oh, when Michael Jordan retired, Scottie Pippen was the best player all around playing the league. You're telling me he was better than Hakeem Olajuwon all around? He was better than David Robinson all around? No, he wasn't. That's insane for anyone to say. I didn't even mention Shawn Kemp. I didn't mention Gary Payton. I mean, come on, man. Like, I said people act as if the 90s was weak because Jordan played in the era. But when you think about Scottie Pippen, and this ain't not a knock on him, to me, he wasn't a top 10 player in the 90s because the 90s was so deep. Like I said, in the early 90s, Mullen was better than Pippen. I mean, once again, man, we talk about what the championships playing alongside Jordan meant. Let's say this. Did Chris Mullin ever play with anybody like Michael Jordan? Did Reggie Miller ever play with anybody like Michael Jordan? No. So we did. And it's not just playing with Michael Jordan. It's not just on the court. It's what Jordan did for Pippen in practice. That's the forgotten part. Remember, Scottie Pippen is not, quote unquote, Scottie Pippen without Michael Jordan. Not without him. He's not. So none of them dudes can say. I mean, Patrick Ewing to me, like I said, who did Patrick Ewing play with? Did he play with anybody like Michael Jordan? No, he played with a bunch of solid role players. Charles Oakley, the Anthony Masons, the John Starks, the Rolando Blackmans. Kiki Vandeweghe later on in his career, right? Some of these guys, Charles Smith, Xavier McDaniel. He played with a lot of role players and journeyman Patrick Ewing. And later on in his career, guys like Latrell Sprewell, the Allen Houstons, or old hobbled Larry Johnson. We killed that, but that was later in Patrick Ewing's career. His entire prime, essentially from the minute he came in the league to 1993, 94, 95, he was playing with the Derek Harpers of the world. Like I said, these are role players. No knock on those guys. Those guys are really good. That's what the Knicks were really good. But Patrick Ewing didn't play with a whole bunch of talent. And people be like, oh, what did Patrick Ewing win? What did Patrick Ewing do? That's why I shouted out Patrick Ewing the other day in that post. Right? The NBA record for consecutive games played with a block. Now, people can laugh when we talked about some of the quote-unquote silly records in NBA's history. I wasn't promoting that as a record or something that needs to be celebrated like, or something that was like, oh, it's meaningless, doesn't mean anything. What I'm highlighting there is the consistency of Patrick Ewing that goes unrecognized. This man was in the lineup every night. This man was there battling every night against Michael Jordan, every year against Michael Jordan. Right? Against all of them dudes that was out there. He battled against Hakeem, right? He battled against an old Kareem, Moses Malone, right? Mark Eaton, right? Rick Smits, Robert Parrish, Brad Daugherty. He was every night against David Robinson. All of them dudes, man. He battled every night. So once again, shout out to him and all the dudes that showed to work. Yo, shout out to my man, Bernard Kemp. Yeah, when I go on Man Down Sports, sometimes they do me a little dirty on there. They don't want to give me the win, I get it. Anybody that saw me on the Man Down Sports Live, you guys know the deal, man. Once again, I had a great time on there. It was a fantastic time. One of the best lives I've ever done. Just as far as the time I had on there, it was great. It was like a 3-hour live stream, and it didn't feel like it was 3 hours. But you guys know, man, I probably should have won that debate just based off of the facts I was coming with, the information that I gave. You guys know the deal, man. These are the facts, man. John Pettit, Robin, in your opinion, who's a better shooter, Reggie Miller, Ray Allen, or Curry? It's a great question. I'll say this. As far as clutch goes, I probably have to give it to Reggie Miller. But once again, I'm being a little biased, I guess. But when I think of Reggie Miller, the first thing that pops into my mind is Miller time. And like I said, I don't drink beer, so it's not like I'm thinking about the beer, the beverage. And shout out to anybody who drinks that beer. But I think about Reggie Miller, Miller time, because Reggie Miller was like that. Reggie Miller was to me a very tough competitor. Reggie Miller to me is a perimeter Patrick Ewing in the sense that I've just mentioned with Patrick Ewing. Who did Reggie Miller play with like that? He didn't play with no great players, right? Rick Smits was a really good player, man, but he wasn't an all-time great legend like that, Rick Smits. And he had a lot of injuries, which kind of slowed him down to a degree. He played with a bunch of really solid role players: Antonio Davis, Dale Davis, Vern Fleming. Early on in the years when he was first in Indiana. Chuck Person, the rifleman. Shout out to Chuck Person, man. He was a good player, but these are not all-time great legends that Reggie Miller played with. So Reggie Miller had to carry the Indiana Pacers franchise all those years in the 90s, essentially by himself until the late 90s when they got guys like Mark Jackson and the Chris Mullins later in their careers. You maybe give him Chris Mullin and Mark Jackson in 1992, then we're talking about something there. Because both of them players in 92 were still really, really good. By 1997, 1998, Chris Mullin was a lot more, a lot slowed down a lot. And Mark Jackson was still an excellent point guard, but he wasn't at his peak or, at the best version of himself, so to speak. And once again, Mark Jackson was never a superstar point guard. To me, he was a second tier, a third tier guy. To me, he was in the realm, like I said, the second tier guys, the Kenny Andersons, of the Rod Stricklands, the Terry Porters. And to me, he was under the guys like a Mark Price, the Kevin Johnsons, right? The John Stocktons. To me, those were the top-notch, Gary Payton. These are the premier point guards in the 90s. He was under them dudes. So Reggie Miller never played no premier guys. Like I said, if you give Reggie Miller Patrick Ewing, like saying, no knock on Rick Smith, but he's not Patrick Ewing. You give Reggie Miller David Robinson, or you give David Robinson Reggie Miller, right? I mean, like vice versa. Same thing with Patrick Ewing. Give Patrick Ewing a Reggie Miller type guy. So when we're talking about what Reggie Miller could do, I think him and Curry, the way that they can move, I think their conditioning is very similar. I think they're both in excellent condition. I think that was one of the things about Reggie Miller that I think a lot of people always talked about was him being able to run around and do some of those things. all night long, running you off the screens. So that's a little bit different. Like, the errors are much different from Reggie Miller and Steph Curry, what they had to do running off them screens and how guys could punish. Remember, they could also punish Reggie Miller coming off those screens, right? I told you, they would hit Reggie Miller too. Steph Curry can't really get hit like that. But as far as all of them, I think you can't go wrong either one. I think Ray Allen's interesting because I think Ray Allen, to me, he was the best as far as creating, I think. And I'm not saying like Steph Curry can't create. I'm talking about as far as creating and going to the hole, like being able to go to the hole or shoot a three. Yo, Ray Allen was in a slam dunk contest, man. Ray Allen was like that. So I think that combination, creativity-wise, going to the hole and dunking on you, like, I mean, being a high flyer. I mean, Ray Allen was a high flyer, right? And being able to shoot, Reggie Miller and Steph Curry can't do that. Now, Steph Curry is an excellent finisher at the rim. I think Steph Curry's finishing ability is excellent, outstanding under the rim. But Ray Allen will bang it on you, man. And Reggie Miller, yeah, he could dunk Reggie Miller, but Reggie Miller wasn't a high flyer. No one's going to think Reggie Miller's a high flyer. That's why he got pinned on the backboard against Tayshaun Prince that year, because he ain't a high flyer like that. If he was a high flyer like that, he'd have dunked that and made sure that point counted. So that's the different mentality about high flyer and someone like Reggie Miller. So when you talk about Ray Allen, I think he had the best athleticism and combination going to the hole strong and shooting. So I think you leading towards Ray Allen, that's I see why. I mean, Steph Curry's biggest problem is he's not, like, not saying he's not clutch, but I don't think of him as more clutch than Reggie Miller. I'm talking about more clutch. Not saying he's a greater shooter or that, but I think that's the problem with Steph Curry. Some of the moments with Curry are not like Reggie Miller. If Steph Curry was clutch like Reggie Miller, then he probably would have won in 2016 the finals. You know what I'm saying? Some of those shots at the end of the game, they couldn't even score. They were missing some of these clutch shots. Even some of those games before Game 7. And we know Curry was dealing with some stuff there, but it's interesting, man. That's a great question. But yeah, Curry at the range, that's for damn sure. And like I said, Curry overall don't play defense like Miller and Ray Allen did. Reggie Miller's a very underrated defensive player. And Ray Allen, obviously a very underrated defensive player and overall player, because now people just think about Ray Allen as a three-point shooter. Oh, Ray Allen, three-point shooter. No, you have to go watch. I think Ray Allen was in a slam dunk contest. Steph Curry not going to slam dunk contest. Reggie Miller ain't going to slam dunk contest. So once again, that's what Ray Allen was doing out there. So once again, shout out to my man Mike Lowry coming through. You guys know the deal, man. These are the facts out here. He did. The plainest straight arm dunks of all time. Yo, shout out to Overledge. I told you, man, Reggie Miller had some. He wasn't a high flyer like that, man. He wasn't a dunker like that. You know what's funny, guys? Like, these are the kinds of things I'm always telling you guys. When we talk about, I was going and watching these guys play. That's why my man Heath Overledger can make a comment like this. A lot of you guys, when I make a comment or I make a statement, you guys either laugh or you guys are shaking your head, you're nodding your head, wherever you are. Because you guys understand. Because you guys know those players too. It's not about, like, when sometimes people say, oh, I can go and watch film on the 90s or I can go watch film on the 2000s or the 80s. It's not the same from you watching the film from someone who doesn't know the guys. Right? So, like, if you've seen someone play a certain way in a game, you don't even have a clue if that's their normal play style. If that's how they normally play. Maybe they just had a great game, right? Maybe they made a couple of threes, right? But they weren't three-point shooters, or maybe they were hot that night. They made 3 threes, which is a big deal in the 90s, right? But you don't really know who they are. So you might be misinformed on who they are play-wise, and you think, oh, yeah, that guy can shoot threes. That's what a lot of people do with Scottie Pippen. The people who didn't watch him growing up, they saw a couple of games, they saw some highlights of Pippen, so they'll say, oh, yeah, Pippen was a scorer, Pippen could shoot. No, he couldn't, man. No, he couldn't. I got into an argument with my 8-year-old son the other day playing 2K, right? Because he has to play 2K. So we're playing NBA 2K. And he's playing with the 96 Bulls, right? And before the game starts, right, we're picking teams. And I like being the old school teams, whatever. So he likes to be Michael Jordan a lot, right? So he picked the 96 Bulls, and he says to me, hey, Dad, how come you didn't tell me that they had a 96 Pippen? I guess he was rated like 96 or whatever it was in the game. I'm not into the ratings and the rankings like that. I just picked the teams based off the teams I remember and some of the players I like. So I started laughing, and I was like, yeah, I didn't even know that, he was rated that high in the game. I don't know what these ratings were. So we're playing the game. Yo, and Scottie Pippen's raining threes on me. Yo, no joke, y'all. Scottie Pippen was stopping and popping threes. I'm talking about hands in the face. He was still making these things. I remember there was a play, he was in the corner, and I came, I jumped to contest the shot. He's falling down. The shot still goes in. And I saw, I'm getting blown out now, right? I think I was like, I'm trying to remember who I was. He was the 96 Bulls, and I was like I wasn't really a good of a team. I was actually regretted picking the team when I was playing. I think I was like the 91 Cavaliers or something like that with Mark Price and Brad Daugherty and Larry Nance. Maybe like the 92 Cavaliers, something like that. And I'm getting ran roughshod on this game. And I said to my son, I'm like, yo, Scottie Pippen don't play like this. That's what I said to him. And he started laughing. This is an 8-year-old. And he starts laughing. He's like, what do you mean? And I was like, Scottie Pippen don't shoot like that. And he's like, he's 96 rated. Yes, he does. And I'm like, listen, that's not reality. I'm like, this is a game, man. I'm like, I'm telling you right now, Scottie Pippen cannot shoot like that. That's not how he plays. He doesn't play. So when you see a lot of these younger kids talk about the NBA, they're giving you the NBA 2K perspective. They're describing a player and how he played in a video game. Oh, yeah, in the game, he's nice. That's not how he played. Once again, it's not taking it from Scottie Pippen. I've mentioned him a couple times in live, but he wasn't raining threes like that. He wasn't shooting like that. I couldn't believe it. I told you that was part of the problem I had with Scottie Pippen in that second three-peat. Is Scottie Pippen thinking he was a shooter like that. He was taking a lot of threes in that second three-peat, Scottie Pippen. Remember, they moved the line in a couple of feet to entice these guys to shoot more, and Scottie Pippen obliged. And this man just started chucking shots sometimes in games. I'm like, dude, you can't shoot. You were never a shooter. So guys will tell you today, Scottie Pippen could do X, Y, Z on the basketball court when he couldn't do it like that. You got people out there saying that Scottie Pippen was a better defensive player than Michael Jordan, a better dribbler than Michael Jordan, like a better passer than Michael Jordan. Like, this is crazy stuff. You did not watch Scottie Pippen or Michael Jordan play then if you think that. And that's what I'm saying. You know who did and didn't watch this stuff because you know the players. We watched them on the court do this stuff. That's how I know their games. Not because I watched the highlights or looked at the box score. You know what I'm saying? Give me Scottie all day. Over who? Who do you want Scottie over all day over, though? I couldn't believe it. I was yelling. Scottie Pippen was shooting all these threes. I mean, Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen were destroying me out there, but I expected that from Michael Jordan in the video game. I mean, Michael Jordan was doing kinds of stuff out there. I expected that, though. Okay. Scottie Pippen, I wasn't expecting this. I was like, yo, there were hands in the face. He was still knocking these threes down. I couldn't believe it. I think at the end of the game, he had like 40 points or something like that with Scottie Pippen. I was like, what is going on here? And this is the thing about Scottie Pippen, guys, and I don't want to get too focused. I want to talk about some other stuff real quick. I told you guys, I did an all-time favorite, my all-time favorite top five, right? My all-time starting five. And I picked Scottie Pippen for it. I picked Scottie Pippen, my all-time favorite starting five. I told you, it was Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Charles Barkley, and Hakeem Olajuwon. And I talked about that in a live show a couple years back on Michael Jordan Fans of the Best. That was my favorite all-time starting five, just based on players that I watched growing up that I remember. And when I tell you guys, when I said that, why I picked Scottie Pippen in there is because I understood and respected and recognized the dynamic between him and Michael Jordan, to me, is unique. No quote-unquote duo had that synergy on the court. No one, because once again, what they could do off each other, feeding off each other on the perimeter, on defense, on offense, they feed off each other. They made each other greater. There are times in great duos where they're not feeding off each other all the time or to the level of each other, a Scottie Pippen and a Michael Jordan. If you think about Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal, at their best, one of them's got to sacrifice, right? On offense, you think, right? Pippen don't need to sacrifice for Jordan, right? Even though they try to say, oh, Pippen could have been greater if Jordan didn't take all the shots. No, we saw that in 94. Nothing happened because Scottie Pippen didn't have that kind of score. He wasn't a scorer like that. That's why Michael Jordan was carrying them offensively. But if Shaq is going off, that takes away from Kobe to a degree on offense. If Kobe's going off, that takes away from Shaq to a degree on offense. And on defense, Kobe and Shaq don't feed off each other the way Pippen and Jordan could. They didn't have the same dynamic on the defensive end. So when Jordan's going off 40, 50 points or just doing what he does, Scottie Pippen's still able to play his slashing game, run the offense, have the ball in his hands, play make, get in the passing lanes, get out on the break, still have the impact and play his game. His game just does not suffer one bit. That's why they're the greatest duo, guys. Once again, no one could really do and duplicate what they've done and what Michael Jordan did in practice for Scottie Pippen, the way that he approached practice, the Breakfast Club, right? The Breakfast Club, Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan. That's what it was. I mean, think about how great they were. Michael Jordan and Pippen were so great that Scottie Pippen was jealous and envious of him all those years, and they were still able to do what they did on the basketball court, right? Kobe and Shaq couldn't do it. That's why I laugh at Pippen now. He's like, dude, what are you talking about? So anyway, did I miss someone super? I hope I didn't miss someone super. Shout to my man McZuggins coming through with the super. Purchase behavior doesn't lie. They can tweet all they want, but they still ain't watching their GOAT, buying his shoes or wearing his jersey. Fake love for a fake GOAT. Merry Christmas all. Exactly, McZuggins. I talked about that in a video, right? The LeBron James fans love him so much, they still don't buy his jerseys. I never see anybody wearing his sneakers. Nothing. They'll go and wait for a Barbie doll all day long, right? But they're not really repping LeBron James, the basketball player. That's LeBron James, a Barbie doll. But y'all ain't getting his stuff. Like I said, I don't see his jerseys out there. They're out there wearing Michael Jordan stuff. It's really weird stuff from the LeBron James fan base. And I told you, LeBron James is so great in their eyes that they never pick his team as the greatest team of all time. They pick other teams. They pick other players' greatness. That's how not great LeBron James is. He's so great. He played against the greater teams. We got to pump his competition up because he loses so much. Because they know LeBron James is not like that. More often than not, he stumbles and bumbles. He's inconsistent. That's what it comes down. Shout out to McZuggins, man, for coming through. You guys know the deal, man. So, I want to talk about LeBron James' tweets real quick. I mean, not tweets. His comments on Christmas, right? He made the comments about Christmas and how he'd rather be home with his family, right? We talked about some of the stuff early, the feeling that you have being home on Christmas with your family. A lot of people, if you celebrate Christmas or the holidays in general, being home with your family is just good. Like I told you, if we could all be home every day and, like I said, not to worry about money or working, right? Or, these kinds of things. Like I said, there's other things in life to worry about, like your health, your family, and enjoying the time with them and not have to be, like I told you, I remember growing up, I didn't see my dad for days sometimes because the man was working overtime so much. Like I said, and me and my brothers benefited from that, right? So we understand a lot of this stuff. Some people work jobs, they're not off like that. I told you, when I worked as a correction officer, I worked on Christmas, a lot of Christmases, man. I was there for 15 years. I didn't have seniority to have Christmas Day off. So either I had to work Christmas Day, or I could see if someone would work for me on Christmas Day, or, and I work for them on New Year's Day. That's how I would usually try to do it. Hey, I'll work for you on New Year's, right? And you work for me on Christmas. And a lot of times I would get people who didn't have children or families. Some of the younger guys, they would do that with me sometimes. Hey, I'll work for you on Christmas Day and you work for me on New Year's. They want to go out and do their thing. So a lot of us have to do that. But when we talk about LeBron James and he's talking about and making these comments about playing on Christmas Day and he'd rather be home with his family instead of playing the game, we have to once again put things in perspective. First, we have to understand the basketball is really a couple of hours out of the day, 2-3 hours for LeBron James on Christmas Day. So it's not the entire day that you're doing this. So we have to understand that right away. Once again, we also have to understand, LeBron James is getting paid a lot of money. So a lot of us out there, you ain't getting paid this kind of money to go to work and you working on the holiday. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, some of you guys, if you don't go to work, you don't get paid. Some people, if you work on the holiday, you get paid overtime. You get paid extra money. So you're compensated to a degree, but you ain't being compensated like LeBron James. So you're getting the max contract. You're going out there. You're taking the money. So those are just the start right there. It's the basics right there. I mean, you guys show up to work. But also, more importantly, remember, it was just LeBron James last year that had a problem with the NFL playing on Christmas Day. Remember, the NFL is normally the Thanksgiving. When you think about Thanksgiving, you think about NFL football. All of us probably, or most of us, have grown up watching NFL football. I don't want to say everybody and put everybody in a box like that, but a lot of us grew up, especially in America, watching football on Thanksgiving. I know, like I said, when I was young growing up, we go to my grandma's house for Thanksgiving. The football game was always on. It was always on. There was only one TV in there, but everybody watching their football game on his little ass TV. But anyway, I remember them days. I remember that stuff, sitting around there, watching the Cowboys and the Lions. I remember Emmitt Smith and Barry Sanders and John Madden, Pat Summerall. Like, these are the memories you have. So this stuff matters. And then we talk about LeBron James being mad about the NFL last year playing on Christmas Day. So he says, listen, man, I love the NFL, but Christmas is our day. So when you make a statement like that, and much respect to LeBron James for saying that as the quote-unquote face of the league, as one of the representatives of the NBA, one of the league's great players, and basically saying, man, y'all trying to encroach on our territory. But the problem with LeBron James making that statement is LeBron James' reputation. His reputation is not such where he's lifted the league up to a degree where the NFL would even feel inclined to encroach on the NBA on Christmas. Why would the NFL feel that they can do this? Because the NBA is going downhill, and they know that. If we can see it, the NFL can see it. The NFL is going like this. The NBA is going like this. So the NFL sees this, and they're trying to take advantage, right? They're trying to come in and take what? Kick you when you're down, right? They couldn't do that in Michael Jordan's 90s. Why? Because of Charles Barkley and Karl Malone and Hakeem Olajuwon, right? And Clyde Drexler and Scottie Pippen and Reggie Miller and Patrick Ewing and Chris Mullin, right? John Stockton, all the guys I just mentioned before. Those were all the guys that helped push the game forward. It wasn't just Michael Jordan. It was all of them dudes showing up to work, giving the effort, competing against each other. So that's why these moments mean more. When LeBron James feels the NFL shouldn't be playing, then you got to go out there and feel a certain way. And you got to compete. And you got to give a better product. You got to give a better effort. You got to show up. But now you don't want to show up. So if everyone had that mentality on Christmas over the years, the last 20, 30 years, where would Christmas Day be now? It's where it's going right now, you see. The NFL, I think, is playing again on Christmas Day. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the NFL is playing again tomorrow, aren't they? You know what's funny? Yup. They taking it away. See, they're playing. Yup, they're playing again tomorrow. I'm telling you right now, to see this was going on, guys. I told you, they're encroaching on the NBA because they know they can do that. The NBA is weak right now. I mean, think about the WNBA is encroaching on the NBA. I did the live stream, right, with Man Down Sports, and you had that young kid on there. Once again, there's much respect to him. I'm not trying to come down on him. But the young kid started talking about how the NBA has more competition for views, for people's eyes, for their attention. And he brought the WNBA. And listen, this is no disrespect to the WNBA, but the WNBA ain't giving the 90s NBA competition. Once again, the WNBA, I believe, started in 1996. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the WNBA started in 1996 or somewhere around there. I know it was like in the mid to late 90s, I want to say. But even the WNBA now, the WNBA right now, as good as people want to say it is, it can't shine and take views from the 90s. You think the 90s era of NBA would be worried about the WNBA taking their viewership or taking eyes away from their sport? Insane, man. Weird stuff out here. So when they make comments like that, all you're doing is highlighting how weak the league is. That's why they're being challenged by, guys who are skating or guys who are swimming now. Like the swimming, like what are we talking about? Everyone, all these sports now running around. I tell you guys right now, what I remember about Major League Baseball in the 90s, Major League Baseball was huge in the 90s. First of all, I mean, listen, I'm not a big baseball guy anymore, guys. I fell for baseball some years ago. I was always a big baseball person. So it was my first sport. But in the 90s, baseball was crazy, man. Baseball was crazy in the 90s. Baseball wasn't crazy. Major League Baseball wasn't popular in the 90s. Yeah, so the NBA had to go against Major League Baseball in the 90s, which was much more popular, especially with American players. Let's say that way, with American players in the 90s. Because now we know that Major League Baseball is being dominated by a lot of other countries now. So once again, shout out to Major League Baseball and all these guys playing in other countries. But a lot of the American people, kids, they're not playing baseball anymore. So baseball was big in the 90s. You talk about, the steroid era. People say whatever they want. That was good for baseball, man. People had the ratings. People were watching baseball in the 80s and the 90s. I mean, it was, like I said, so baseball was big, man. So NBA was contending with Major League Baseball. Think about the Yankees in the 90s, man. They were big time in the 90s. They were very big in the 90s, man. They were like a dynasty in the 90s, Yankees. So all that going on, the great players, the personalities, the Frank Thomases, the Ken Griffey Juniors, the Barry Bondses. I mean, my goodness, man. The 90s era of baseball was very popular, man. So you're competing against, and once again, not to mention the NFL. The NFL's always been popular. You're talking about the 80s and 90s era of NFL, guys. The 80s and 90s era of NFL was that. Think about sports, guys. You had Major League Baseball, probably at its highest in the 90s. The 80s and into the 90s of Major League Baseball was sensational. You're talking about guys like Nolan Ryan, the Roger Clemens. I mean, you're talking about elite guys, Randy Johnson. You're talking about John Glavine and Tom Smoltz, man. I mean, we're talking about some of these great, Greg Maddux, some of these great pitchers that pitched back in these days, man. You're talking about the crossover of some of these guys, man. You're talking about NFL. Think about some of the names that played in the 80s into the 90s, guys. I'm going to say some names here. Walter Payton, Joe Montana, Dan Marino, Jerry Rice, Barry Sanders, Emmett Smith, Reggie White, Lawrence Taylor. I mean, Howie Long, Bo Jackson. I mean, think about some of the freaking guys, man. I mean, are you kidding me here? That we talk about, that we seen out here playing, man. Insane. I mean, you're talking about all these sports. They're competing with each other because of the talent and once again, the fact that those guys showed up. They showed up to work. All of them dudes showed up. Bruce Smith, Derek Thomas. All of these guys showed up, man. Joe Montana was running for his life out there, guys, because they can hurt you bad out there. Dan Marino, they're running for their lives out there. Troy Aikman, Steve Young, Randall Cunningham, Warren Moon, Ronnie Lott. Yo, I'm talking about some of the all-time legends. Aeneas Williams, Rod Woodson. These are some of the greatest players at their positions. Deion Sanders. This is 80s and the 90s, guys. It wasn't just the NBA. It was everywhere. And these guys were superheroes. They were superheroes to us. Forgive me, NHL fans. I don't know hockey that well. I know Wayne Gretzky. That's probably about it, guys. I know some of the New York Rangers guys from the New York, from the locals, local stuff. Shout out to Mark Messier. But once again, I mean, come on, man. So I don't know. You guys can maybe shout some of the hockey guys out in the comments section. But, I mean, even tennis was competitive. When you talk about Pete Sampras and Andre Agassi, John McEnroe, Jim Connors, like, these are just some of the American players. I mean, there was competition everywhere, man. But come on, man. These dudes were out there. Yeah, shout out to Mario Lemieux. Sterling Sharp. Yeah, shout out to Sterling Sharp. Shannon Sharp. Shannon Sharp was a really good football player, man. I told you he's a terrible commentator. Doesn't know anything about basketball because he was playing football. But he was an outstanding football player, Shannon Sharp, man. But Sterling Sharp was much greater than he was. Sterling Sharp was on the level being mentioned with the Jerry Rice, man. He was with Jerry Rice, Sterling Sharp. That's where he was before that neck injury derailed his career. But you're talking, like I said, some of the greatest players. I mean, just think about some of the names I mentioned, guys. I mean, my goodness, man. I mean, come on, man. This is insane. All the sports, guys. Like, people think, yo, Easy Ed McCaffrey. Shout out to Easy Ed McCaffrey from Denver Broncos. Terrell Davis. Remember Terrell Davis and John Elway? I didn't even mention John Elway. Forgive me. John Elway, man. Come on. I mean, like I said, I forget to mention some of these guys. There's so many. You can't think about all of them. Sometimes when I sit down and I think about, someone mentioned Tim Brown. Shout out to my man G24Ds, of course, Tim Brown. When you talk about, there's a term that they'll say, right? A pro's pro. When you talk about a quote-unquote pro's pro, that name right there, Tim Brown is what I immediately think about, a pro's pro. That's Tim Brown, man. So shout out to Tim Brown, man, because that dude was there every single night. Tim Brown. These dudes were there. Eddie George. Shout out to Eddie George, one of my favorite running backs. That dude I thought should have been in the Hall of Fame. I know it's hard to get into the NFL Hall of Fame or the Pro Football Hall of Fame. But I loved Eddie George, man. He was one of my favorite college running backs of all time, Eddie George. Him and Ricky Williams are like my favorite running backs from college, man. Like, I love them dudes, man. You guys know how I feel about Emmitt Smith and the pros. Jerome Bettis. I mean, guys, think about the names you're dropping right now. Yo, what are we doing right now, guys? This is insane. Yo, I mentioned Tony Hawk. Yo, shout out to my man Nufo. I mentioned Tony Hawk in my video about cool athletes. And I remember in the 90s playing Tony Hawk Pro Skater, the 2000s playing Tony Hawk Pro Skater. And Tony Hawk, I mean, to this day, he's still that dude, but he was crazy, man. And I told you, I was into skateboarding in the late 80s into the early 90s, guys. I was huge into skateboarding, man. Like I said, it was big in the city, man, back in the 80s, man. And I was big into skateboarding, man. I had my own skateboard, my own custom skateboard. I told you to go to the skate park, all this stuff, man. I was into this stuff, man. Tony Hawk was that dude. He was that dude. I saw somebody mention a WWE. No, it was WWF. When I was growing up, it was WWF. They don't call it that anymore. I think they call it, WWE, I think now. And my son's into wrestling, kind of getting out of wrestling now and more so into the sports. But the wrestling is still really big wrestling. But wrestling was huge in the 80s and the 90s. I mean, you talk about some of the great wrestlers from WWF or WCW. You're talking about Hulk Hogan, obviously, man. And once again, man, rest in peace to Hulk Hogan. I know Hulk Hogan took a lot of flack, but damn, man, he was a wrestler, man. I recognize and respect Hulk Hogan for what he did for wrestling, man. Because what he meant to the kids as a wrestler, I didn't know him personally. I don't freaking know this guy, man. I don't give a damn if he didn't like me because I was brown. Give a damn, man. Hulk Hogan was that dude when I was growing up, man. All right, Hulkamania, it was important to a lot of people growing up. All them dudes was. You know, obviously you guys have heard me mention, you guys have seen me wear the Macho Man Randy Savage t-shirt, right? You guys know Macho Man Randy Savage was one of my favorite wrestlers. The Ultimate Warrior was one of my favorite wrestlers. Coco Beware, the Junkyard Dog, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, one of my favorite wrestlers, right? The Iron Sheik, right? Nikolai Volkov. You guys remember some of these guys from back in the day, man? They were like real rivalries. I remember Sergeant Slaughter, Sting, Ric Flair, right? I mean, like some of these dudes were crazy. I love these guys, man, because what they had charisma, they had personalities, right? They had style. These guys were cool. They had swag. A lot of those guys, they could talk on the microphone. Stone Cold Steve Austin, Andre the Giant, right? Let me just think about some of these guys, man. The Steiner brothers. I used to love the Steiner brothers, man. Then he became Big Papa Pump. Shout out to Gino Panzini. Came Big Papa Pump. Shout out to my man Lou Steph. But a lot of these guys. Bob Backlund, I see somebody shouting out. I mean, you guys know the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, or Mr. Perfect. A lot of people don't realize Mr. Perfect was a really good athlete, man. I watched some old stuff of Mr. Perfect from back in the day. This dude was a really good athlete, Mr. Perfect. Jake the Snake Roberts, Ravishing Rick Rude. I mean, just think about some of these dudes, man. Like I said, when I was going in the 80s into the 90s, like I said, that late 80s, early 90s, the 90s, like I said, remember Hollywood Hogan when he went to Hollywood? I remember Razor Ramon. Like I said, the British Bulldogs. Remember the British Bulldogs? The Bushwhackers. Remember the Bushwhackers? Them dudes was crazy, the Bushwhackers, man. I remember a lot of these guys from back in the day said I grew up watching. That's only 80s and 90s, guys. So you had the NBA, Major League Baseball, NFL, WWF. I mentioned tennis. Like I said, I don't know hockey that well, but I know hockey was doing their thing because hockey continues to gain more popularity out there. So once again, when you talk about all these sports, now the one sport that I will recognize has come a long way in America is soccer. Soccer's come a long way since the 90s in America. I told you, in the 90s, none of the boys played soccer. Soccer was viewed as a girl sport, right? Once again, no disrespect or knock on people who play soccer. I told you my son plays soccer now. But in the 90s, I was growing up because you had to make a decision. Either you played soccer in high school or you played football. They go at the same time. You can't play both. So most of the boys, American boys, played football. That's what we did, man. I told you, I wanted to try wrestling. I remember the wrestling coach asked me to come to the wrestling team, right? Because I was really good at football. And I was aggressive, man. But wrestling and basketball went at the same time. I wasn't giving up basketball to wrestle. I wasn't doing it. So a lot of these things conflicted with each other, which prevented you to make a choice. You had to make a decision. So when I told you guys about soccer, remember, that was a European sport. It wasn't American. So in America, soccer has, shut up. Because, some of the people right now, some of the parents out here in America, we getting soft. So we don't want our kids playing football now. I told you, I had to have a conversation with my wife because my son wants to play tackle. You guys know he's been on the flag football team the last couple of years. I've been coaching that. He wants to go tackle. My wife, she's scared of that. I told her, listen, they got to catch him to tackle him, right? You guys know the deal. But these are the things that used to be, man. Once again, shout out to you guys. I saw someone mention Diamond Dallas Page. Shout out to Diamond Dallas. I always thought Diamond Dallas Page was a cool ass dude. Oh, yeah, you're right. Rap Guy Reload, you're right. Tiger Woods came into the 90s. And once again, that made help golf a lot. I mean, look at golf and what it done for golf. Paved the way for a lot of different people that look differently to be allowed to play golf. I remember back in the day, like when I was growing up, hearing names like Arthur Ashe. I remember Arthur Ashe was a big name when I was growing up. Rest in peace to Arthur Ashe. Once again, these guys who are opening doors for some of these athletes. I told you, Pete Sampras and Andre Agassi had that rivalry, man. And I remember, I'm not gonna lie, I used to hate Pete Sampras, man, because he was so damn good. And I remember I loved Andre Agassi, man, because he had the cool hair, right, and the headband, man. Andre Agassi was cool. He was just cool, right? So I always hated Pete Sampras because Pete Sampras kind of came after Agassi a little bit. and really just, shot past him, dominating, that late era there. And he came such a dominant tennis player, Pete Sampras. And then we all know that, he probably has been passed up by guys like Djokovic, and Federer since. The Nadals. Like, these guys are really, really excellent tennis players and what they've accomplished as far as men's tennis. But Pete Sampras was that dude, man. Him and Andre Agassi. I remember Andre Agassi always having those Canon camera commercials. Remember those Canon commercials? He'd be out there hitting the ball, and it would be like, and it would show like a bunch of different. You guys remember these commercials, man? Because he was cool, Andre Agassi. So once again, man, that's what it was back in the day, man. So all these leagues, the popularity of those leagues, they were all competing with each other, man. So LeBron James not really wanting to play on Christmas Day and not really having that sentiment is why an NFL would come in and feel the need to come back and play and take your shine, so to speak. So LeBron James contradicts himself and really just talks to talk. He doesn't really care about the NBA or about basketball and to lift the game up. These are the sacrifices that you have to make on Christmas. I was just watching not too long ago, the other day, actually, yesterday, Michael Jordan and the Bulls playing the New York Knicks in Chicago on Christmas Day in 1992. So this was the 1992-93 season where the Bulls would have faced the Knicks later on in the Eastern Conference Finals. The Knicks would be the number one seed that year, right, with 60 wins, the number one defense. And the Bulls beating the Knicks on Christmas Day. And Michael Jordan, I believe, scored like 42 points in that game. He looked really good in the video I was watching. And like I said, you think about some of these memories. Like I said, some things that you guys remember watching some of this stuff and Michael Jordan showing up and these guys just going out there and competing on these days. I remember Kobe and Shaq on Christmas Day, right? When they first came to play, after they were, when Shaq was in Miami and Kobe was in LA, right? And they played on Christmas Day. A lot of you guys probably remember the Shaq and Kobe matchup on Christmas Day. So it means a lot over the years. Like I said, watching some of these teams play, you guys, like I said, maybe you guys have memories with your family watching a certain team play or a certain player play on Christmas Day and what it meant to you, the memory of it playing. So, like I said, it's really weird for him to make those kind of comments. It shows your lack of awareness, again, for what it really means and what you're doing for the league. It's not about you all the time. It's not about you spending time with your family on Christmas. It's not always about you. That time is going to be there. Because let's be real, if LeBron James really cared about spending time with his family that way, then you would have retired years ago, man. Like I said, why are you still playing? It doesn't make any sense. If you really thought to yourself deep down, you know what? I gotta retire from my family, man. I'm missing all these years with my kids, right? I have all these opportunities that I'm giving up, these moments, because I'm just chasing more money and stats. Like, really, what is LeBron James playing for? Does he look like he really cares about winning, caring about the league? No, he's out there with mediocrity. So you could have been retired and spend time with your family. So no one wants to hear you say, oh, I got to play on Christmas again. I'm always playing on Christmas. Honestly, I'd love to be home. LeBron, you have the opportunity, dude. You're a billionaire, man. A billionaire. You don't need this money. Who cares? Like, I guess I don't get it. You're doing nothing for your legacy, man. If it mattered that much to you, you could walk away. A lot of us out there, most of us out there, we can't just quit our jobs whenever we want to retire, whenever we want. We have to keep working. I tell you, my mother's still working. 67, bad knee and all. She's still a nurse. Working her butt off. Crazy. I remember during COVID, my mom used to come home. Man, I remember telling stories, saying crazy things about bodies just piling up in these hospitals. And her just working like 18, 20-hour days. Everyone's sick. People are dying everywhere. My mother's 62 years old at the time. They say still working all these years, man. I mean, my mom's, I tell you, I never even knew my grandfather, man. My mom's father passed away. He died at 42, y'all. 42. I'm 45. All right. My mother was like 10. I think she was like 11 or 12. I think my grandfather passed away. And not too long after that, my grandmother, who didn't speak barely a lick of English, guys, because she's from Italy, didn't barely speak a lick of English. She was sick, man. She was paralyzed. She got sick, got very sick, man. I never saw my grandmother walk. When I was born, my grandmother was in a wheelchair, man. She couldn't ever walk. I remember 8, 9, 10 years old having to help my mom lift my grandmother into the bed. At the end of the day, we used to come and get her, right, and lift her into the bed, put her down for the night. Get her all situated and stuff, man. She was really sick, man, my mom's entire life. She's been working and doing all this stuff, man, since she was a little teenager. And she's still working. So once again, there are people like that. I'm not giving you guys my mom's sob story, but what I'm saying is that there are people like that. There are a lot of people out there with stories like that, even worse, even way worse. That's why I always tell you guys, we have to put things in context and perspective, man. And we have to be humble and thank ourselves for what we do have. My mom will tell you every day she's thankful for everything that's happened in her life. That this was God's plan for her. That's how she talks about things, man. Sometimes I don't agree with this stuff, but that's her. She's religious like that. I told you she's Italian, Catholic Italian, man. That's what it is, man. So once again, LeBron James lacks awareness and he lacks perspective. And he lacks, like I said, the understanding of the world. When you hear the NBA players get mad at the fans for them coming to the arena and saying crazy things. And once again, we've talked about this, guys. I don't agree with a lot of things people say. I don't think people should say disgusting, weird stuff in public like that. To me, why would you even do that? That's not how we're supposed to be conducting ourselves, in society. But people can say whatever they want. And like I said, they have a right to a degree to be there, right? They paid money to be there. And once again, if they didn't pay to be there, then you wouldn't even have a job to go to. But these guys act like they don't get paid from us or that we mean nothing to the game. Remember, there's no league without the fans. No league without the fans. So, I mean, man, we talked about a lot of stuff in this live stream, man. I didn't even get to a lot of the things I wanted to actually talk about. There was something I wanted to talk about, and I didn't even get a chance to get into it, man. I just completely deviated from a lot of this stuff. We went down all kinds of memory lanes here. So once again, shout out to all you guys, man. As I continue to come through. Once again, Merry Christmas. Happy holidays to everybody out there. I hope you guys are safe. I'm not going to be doing any content tomorrow. We always go to my parents' house for the holidays. Since my grandmother, passed away years ago, we always go to my parents' house. So we'll be over there chilling. We'll be watching the NBA games. We'll see LeBron James out there. So we'll see what LeBron James does out there on Christmas Day. I told you, I remember last year watching the Knicks game against the Spurs with my dad and my brothers. And I remember, it was a really good game. But I remember, thinking to myself, I told you guys about this. What the hell is Victor Wembanyama doing? Dude, stop shooting all these damn threes. And he was playing a really good game, but he was out there shooting 16 or 17 threes in that game, man. But I remember watching these games, man. We always have a good time on Christmas Day, man, watching this stuff. Once again, shout out to Rap God Reloaded. Shout out to everybody who celebrates Kwanzaa. And like I said, man, happy Hanukkah to anybody who celebrates that. Like I said, to anyone who don't celebrate nothing, just shout out to you guys anyway. Like I said, for coming through and supporting the channel, guys. It said it means a lot. Did I miss anybody? Supers? Oh, shout out to my man Armando Ruiz coming through. I'd argue 80s, 90s movies and sitcoms were better. Look, don't get me started. I mean, we can go down a whole road here. When you talk about 80s and 90s, sometimes we don't even realize. What do we always say, guys, over here? What do we always say? We say, we didn't realize how good we had it. We didn't know. We didn't know, guys. I saw a thing online one time a couple years ago, and it stuck with me because it was really, it hit home with me. And it said, it was a picture of a bunch of bicycles at someone's house, right? And it said that one day was the last day that we all hung out as kids. And we didn't even know that was going to be the last day that we were, quote unquote, hanging out as kids. Your childhood one day it's there and then you're not doing those things again, right? It's so crazy to me when you think about that kind of stuff. And I know some of us are different ages. Some of you guys are older than me. Some of you guys may be younger than me. So, a lot of you guys understand what I'm saying. Some of you guys may not understand or remember some of the players we mentioned or some of the people that we were talking about. And maybe you don't understand or remember some of the shows or the movies. I post a lot of this stuff, cartoons that a lot of us grew up watching. That really hit hard with me, man. I was like, yo, that's crazy when you think about that. I can't remember the last day that I was a kid. I can't remember that. Just one day I was and one day you weren't. So, I think for some of us, we are still quote unquote kids. And I think that childhood is something, I do believe in childhood. I don't think that I'm a child anymore. But when we talk about quote unquote growing up or being a kid, I think a lot of us are still kids. And I don't think that that's a negative. And we talk about being a man, right? And growing up, there's still things that we should do that we did as children, the way that we view certain things, the way that we think about certain things, right? To think that way, to be excited about certain things. I tell people all the time to wake up, and be positive. Kids wake up, they're in the morning, they're up, right? Like, you think about kids and the energy they have. Like, every day is the best day of a kid's life, right? Every day is great for them. My son's been counting down Christmas for like 2 months now, right? And then I think I think about myself as a kid. Like I said, no, some of us didn't celebrate Christmas and I get all this stuff. But I think about, damn, I was so excited as a kid for Christmas, man. It meant a lot, right? And I think about a lot of this kind of stuff, man. And I think that's, some of the things that we have to think about. When I talk about fitness and health on this channel and fighting against the laziness, as a child, we weren't lazy, right? We didn't think about being lazy. And I know kids have gotten lazy now. That's part of the problem in society. We've given up on the children, a lot of us, and we've given up on ourselves. But when we were kids growing up back in those days, we weren't lazy. You climbed trees, you climbed fences, you know what I'm saying? You climbed all kinds of stuff. I remember going to the Inwood Park in the city in Washington Heights. You go to Inwood Park, there was these giant monkey bars. You can get seriously hurt if you fall off the monkey bars, man. And these things are metal. I'm talking about hard metal. You banging knees and shins and elbows and heads. And we're wrestling around the monkey bars. We're trying to throw each other off the monkey bars. We're playing dangerous games out here as children. Games that you think about now, and you're like, damn, we probably shouldn't have been doing this kind of stuff, man. We were putting ourselves in harm's way. But that's what made us tough. That's what made us stronger. That's what made us better. Those were the moments, the games that we played, the way that we played. It was, like I said, you put yourself in harm's way a lot of times. When I talk to you guys about doing skateboarding, skateboarding is rough, man. I remember I had a lot of cuts, a lot of stuff that I got from skateboarding, riding our bikes, all this kind of stuff. Playing tag, running around. I remember playing Manhunt and doing some of these other things, some of these other games that we would play. Like I said, it was different, man. Just different stuff. It wasn't the same. Now, I remember when I was in PS 199 and I was in I want to say third grade, maybe third or fourth grade. And I remember we were playing in recess against the older kids, right? It was like the seventh graders, the sixth, seventh graders. There was like a middle school, right? That was after fifth grade. It was like sixth and seventh graders. So they were like the older kids. I remember them being out there with us at recess, and it would be them versus us. And they'd be out there pummeling us, man. And you guys know when we're playing dodgeball, we're playing with that red rubber ball. That red rubber ball, man. When that joint hits you, it leaves those little swirly marks on you. You guys know that ball. You get hit with that joint stings, man. Then it hurts. And you have the older kids, man, pegging us with the dodgeball. That's what we did back then. And what did we do? We was out there like, yeah, you can't get me. We was doing the thing out there, going down low, trying to jump, trying to catch it. Now they banned dodgeball. Kids can't even play dodgeball anymore. How the hell are we going to win any wars? How are we going to stop somebody from invading our country? God forbid this ever happens. Our kids can't play dodgeball. These are supposed to be the next people coming up. They can't play dodgeball. We're going to be all jacked up, man. Come on, man. What's going on here? I remember when I got to boot camp, there were people that were there that were scared that they were going to beat us up. I remember they were hearing the stories of the old Navy from the 80s and the 70s and the 60s and the 50s. Back in the day, they used to beat you up in boot camp. They would physically beat you. They could do things to you. They didn't physically beat us in boot camp. It got a little crazy sometimes in boot camp, guys. It got a little scary out there, man. But they would beat you through workouts. That's how they would beat you out there. I told you, they would make us doing push-ups on the grinder, on the blacktop, in the burning sun. And it was melting the skin on your hands because it was so hot when you're doing the push-ups. It was all jacked up out there. But how the hell are we supposed to win wars and be a tough country when we got our kids can't play dodgeball? Weak stuff. So once again, man, shout out to you guys. I see you guys mention a lot of shows. I'm going to wrap this live stream up. I know I rambled on, guys. I don't even know if I talked about anything today. Forgive me, guys. I'm sorry, man. If I didn't cover anything that I said I would have covered, I'm sorry, man. We talked about so much stuff. I'm sorry, man. But once again, I see you guys out there mention some cartoons, man. I remember G.I. Joe was huge with me. See, that's what we do on this channel, guys. It's a rant. It's sports and fitness rants, guys. This is what we're out here doing. I go all over the place. You guys know that we navigate through the day, through the live stream. So like I said, I'm really humbled that you guys roll with me. You guys stay in the chat. You come to the comments. You guys go back and forth. You guys adding to my live stream by saying a lot of the things that you guys were saying. So I said, it really means a lot, guys. But yeah, I tell you, G.I. Joe's was huge to me. Thundercats was huge. Transformers was huge for me when I was young. I remember a lot of these, but there's just so many cartoons. I saw someone mention Silverhawks. I remember Fraggle Rock. I don't know if you guys remember Fraggle Rock. Inspector Gadget, Heathcliff, Garfield. I mean, I remember some of these cartoons. The Smurfs. I mean, it's crazy, man. Like, when you think about some of the stuff, and like I said, you guys mentioned some of these sitcoms. I mean, insane. Some of the sitcoms, Different Strokes, Family Ties, I remember back in the day. I remember Perfect Strangers, Step by Step. Obviously, we all know some of the main ones, like Full House was big. The Cosby Show was really big in my household. My dad always watched the Cosby Show, which is crazy, right? Because Bill Cosby, like... I think Bill Cosby, I mean, my man took a hard fall out there with some of the stuff they were saying about Bill Cosby, man. But yeah, He-Man, Ninja Turtles was a huge one. I mean, obviously Ninja Turtles was huge. Obviously He-Man was huge, man. I mean, but I remember Gummy Bears, Darkwing Duck, DuckTales. I mean, you guys are mentioning so many great shows here. But I mean, like, think about it. Like, you can go on and on. It's like, it's crazy, man. So someone mentioned the Power Rangers were a little bit after me. Like I said, I had Voltron. Like, that's what I had. Voltron was like the Power Rangers for me in the 80s. That's what I don't know if you guys remember Voltron. If anybody remembers Voltron, but we had Voltron. I think Voltron's like a Japanese cartoon or something like that. But we had Voltron, which I told you was like before some of these things. Shout out to my man Heath Overledger coming through with the Superman. That means a lot, man, for you to come through like that. Grand salute to you and yours. Always appreciating your perspectives. Let's roll. Thank you very much, my man Heath Overledger. Like I said, always coming through, a true supporter of my channel. I try to give a lot of you guys the wrench icon so that you guys can modify the chat. We don't really get a lot of weird, crazy stuff too often in the chat. I mean, a lot of my live streams, they don't, come like that. They scared. I think they're scared to come there. So, but I always try to give you guys who continue to come through the ability to be moderators on these live shows. So thank you to all you guys who continue to come through and support. I see some of you guys mentioning video games. I still play video games. Obviously, I started off playing, I think it was like, it wasn't Atari, but it was like the Commodore. If I remember the name it was called. I remember there was a game that we had called Burger Time that we used to play. That was like the first game I played. But then I had Nintendo. I remember when I was like, I think I was like 8 years old when the Nintendo came out. And I remember my parents got me and my brothers the Nintendo. A lot of the stuff that we got as kids growing up, because me and my brothers are 3 years apart. So, and then my youngest brother's like way behind us, but it was just us three at first when my younger brother came living in the city and stuff. So a lot of the stuff that we got was for all of us. So if I got the Nintendo, we got the Nintendo, right? So I had to share with my younger brothers and stuff like that. But I remember a lot of these video games. Right now I have PlayStation 5. That, like I said, I play with my son. We play the video games, and I've always been to video games. Now, obviously, I can't play or I can't spend as much time as I'd like to these days, because I can get lost in a video game. I could play hours. Sometimes my wife would be like, yo, it's like 3 hours. And I'm playing, God of War or something like that. Or I was playing, back in the day, I told you, me and my friends had a team on Call of Duty. It was legit. We used to link up. We had a guy that was a sniper. I was a spray and pray guy. I used to go out there with the M60 on the game and just throw bullets out there, right, at people. But we had everybody had different specialties, man. And I remember some of the funny things, were the interactions I had with people online playing Modern Warfare. Like, I'm talking about, this is probably like 15 years ago, guys. Maybe not 15 years ago. Yeah, maybe like 15 years ago. It was a while ago that I was on there doing this. This is like probably 2010. Yeah, like 2010 that probably was. I was hardcore into Call of Duty, big time. I mean, I was playing I remember young kids on there, 10 years old. And they're just slaying you out there. You're getting shot, and you're like, damn. I remember people cursing, yo, man, who keeps shooting me? What the hell's going on out here? Every time you respawn, you get taken out. And I remember this guy was going off, cursing, going nuts, man. He's like, what the heck? Every time I come back, I keep getting shot by the same person. And this kid comes on, and he's like, yeah, it's me. And the guy starts yelling. He's like, yo, I'm only 12. He's like, I don't give a damn. Man, it was just so funny, man. Some of the interactions on there, the times I've had, like I said, some of the shows that we watched, some of the cartoons. And like I said, they would teach you things, right? These shows taught us stuff. Yeah, shout out to Sega Dreamcast. I had the Sega Dreamcast. That was actually my boot camp graduation gift. My parents got me a Sega Dreamcast when I graduated boot camp. I was one of the first people that had this thing, man, when it first came out. It was so cool, man. I was like, whoa, I couldn't believe it. So I think a lot of us, playing, like I said, Atari, Nintendo, Sega. I remember Sega. Sega Genesis was really big. I love Sega Genesis. Sonic the Hedgehog was big. Obviously, Super Mario. Those games were huge. I mean, I remember when Sega Genesis came out and they had this game called Altered Beast. I thought that game was so cool, man, because you turn into a different animal. Like every level, you turn into a different animal, right? You powered up. You're like, power up. Like, and the guy kept getting more and more muscular. And in the final form, he turned into an animal, like a dragon or like a tiger or a bear or something like that. And I thought that was a really cool game. But I loved Sega Genesis. I remember Nintendo GameCube. When GameCube came out, that was really big. I remember going to the arcades. Right? They don't have arcades anymore. Street Fighter 2, Mortal Kombat. Right, a lot of these games, Killer Instinct. I remember some of these games that were out there. Once again, James Bond, GoldenEye. See, shout out to Megatron for mentioning that. Yeah, so things were different back in them days, man. Yo, so once again, man, I'm gonna get up out of here, man. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your holidays. Like I said, man, it really means a lot, guys, for you guys to come through, support the live stream. I'm not gonna do any content tomorrow. I'll probably be back maybe the day after Christmas. Maybe do another live stream or drop some videos out. We'll see what happens on Christmas Day. With LeBron James and some of those other clowns out there, man. So once again, man, you guys know the deal, man. I said, forgive me, guys, if I rambled on too much and didn't really hit on some of the topics that maybe you guys wanted to hear me talk about, or if I missed something that you guys said in the comment section, forgive me, guys. I try to get back to you guys. So once again, if you guys ask me a question or something and I didn't get back to it, man, forgive me. You guys know the deal. As always, man, I'm truly humble about the support. Once again, Merry Christmas to all you guys. Hope you guys have a great holiday. If you don't celebrate Christmas, have a great holiday. Be safe out there. Remember, you really think and be thankful and appreciate, our families and the time that we have with our families, guys, because it means a lot. Once again, you guys know the deal. I'll get you guys on the next one.